Gone Girl, Vib-Ribbon, Twin Peaks, that and much more this week on
Burning Barrel Podcast.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen.
Just edit to
Barrel
each
Podcast.
hit. It's like a barrel explodes and the game goes flying. I see it. A lemming hits the ground. All right. If we had a video intro each week, that would be perfect.
I might be able to whip something up for that, but
Awesome.
yeah.
Hey guys,
Anyways.
It's the Burning Barrel. It's
Yeah.
Nathan and Paul. Each week we gather around this barrel in this alley, which you can't see because there's video. And yeah, we decide whether or not we're gonna add it to the fire or keep it. And I was thinking, like, should we have a distinction for stuff that we don't only not burn, but like put up on a mantle or something? Or like, what is the opposite of burning something?
I guess like
Just like-
not burning something.
Well, yeah, but like.
Like
This
that's
one's
probably
not only like, I'm gonna put it here just in case we need it later, but it's like, no, this one's really good. I'm not gonna even think about that. But whatever, I'll just be clear in what I say about
What is
stuff.
the opposite of burning something? Podcast at burningbarrel.co. Give us your feedback.
Yeah,
I have no idea. All I know is that I have that fire sound effect for when something's sizzling. I'm going to turn that up a little bit.
great. I don't know if I hated stuff this week, but if you did, that'll be perfect.
But if you did hate something, we would throw it in the barrel. And up it goes.
Yeah.
So dumb. Podcasts are so fucking stupid. Anyways, yes, we do talk about media stuff on
Yeah.
Burning Barrel.
Yeah, that includes games, movies, mostly those things. Occasionally books.
For the
like this
most
one.
part.
It's a good book right here. Still
Did
gets
you end
my...
up finishing that? Like, when
Yeah, I
you,
finished reading it.
you were on Top Down last week.
Yeah,
Had you finished it at that
I
point?
finished it
Okay.
at that point, yeah.
I can't remember if you had finished it or if there was a little bit more.
Yeah, that kind of has kicked off a bit more interest in just Sega's side of gaming during that whole period, because I was not really engaging with that. I picked up a SEGA Genesis Mark 1 like 10 years ago at a garage sale or something, so it
Sure.
wasn't like part of my gaming stuff really growing up. It would be like a thing friends would have or something. But now it's just like, I'm gonna, let's check out the flea market, check out some Genesis games. Like, what's going on? Like, I ended up overpaying for a Genesis Mark II, but I didn't know that at the time. I was just like, well, a Retron's like 75, but I want to go like old school. Like, I don't want emulation. I want like the real thing. So I'm gonna get this Genesis because I already have a Super Nintendo and a Nintendo. So if I need to play those things, I can just pull that out. But I need a Genesis that works. So I bought a Genesis for $70, which, yeah, like a few days later, saw one for 30, and I went, oh well, I wanted to play it that minute. So I went home and hooked it up and played stuff right away.
Oh,
It's all right. I don't
if
feel
you
too
could have
bad.
waited a little bit longer, I'm pretty sure I have an extra one you could have.
I needed it right then. Like,
Okay.
we were trying to, like, I tried to set up the Mark 1. We opened it and tried to clean it and stuff because it just was kind of not responding. I still have it just because I don't want to get rid of it because it's still, still classic. Look at that big old thing. It's got like a headphone jack. So if you gotta play Lemmings at night and you don't want anyone to know, just put that
Right.
put that in there.
Don't want anyone to know.
Yeah, I don't know what it is that's conked out with that thing, but we put the headphone jack in just to like be like, is it even producing audio? Like, is anything happening? And it was just like, no. So yeah, Mark II, baby. Apparently there's a Mark III and it's really small, but I don't have that one.
I haven't even seen one in person. So
Is it kind of like a Game Boy Mini thing? Like, it came out really late and no one
it's
bought
very
one?
likely.
Yeah.
That seems like something Sega would have put out as Sony unraveled the PlayStation. So like, oh, remember Retro, I guess, now? It's
Yeah.
Sony.
It's like,
Like-
you can still play all those classics. And it's like, we're moving on. 3D's here, dude. Like, we're done.
Yeah.
It's like, we got that too. Saturn. Oh, no. please buy it. Yeah. I didn't end up buying anything. Like I looked at a bunch of games. There's a lot of sports games and stuff. I did see a copy of Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, but it was like $40, and
Let me see what I have for
like
Genesis,
I kind of
right?
want to check it out. Yeah, for Genesis.
Okay, hold on.
Or like I want that version of Aladdin because apparently it's totally different. It
Oh,
has like
I have
crazy
it.
animations. All right, I want to check that
So,
out
Yeah, you
because
can
I have
check
the
that
SNES version, but they're totally different games.
out. All right, so the first game I ever owned on the Genesis, Sonic Spinball.
Sweet,
But,
I have that.
Yes. Sonic
Wait.
Spinball is so good.
Yeah.
Sonic
Right.
Spinball. I really like it because I was a Sonic boy growing up. I actually had Genesis before I had an SNES, so
Oh, okay.
Sonic was my boy, and I like pinball games. There's also one you should check out if you can ever find it on the Genesis called Dragon's Fury. I think that's what it's
Okay.
called. I guess I could look it up. It I don't know. I was really into metal for a long time,
Mhm.
and like horror stuff and all that sort of thing. And this is kind of like a pinball game. It looked like Geiger did like the art for, so it was all like morbid and gross, like something that would be on the like for
Okay.
kids though. Like it wasn't like
That morbid. Like there's just like phallic imagery. And,
it
like,
wasn't
crazy.
Cannibal Corpse covers.
Okay.
No. It was
Yeah.
called Dragon's Fury. It was absolutely fantastic. If you can find a copy of it, I think I have one. It's just in a box somewhere.
Okay.
I'll see if I could dig it up.
Do
Also
you have
got that
what?
NFL game, of course.
Okay. I was
94.
kind of like I saw Joe Montana Football was there, and that's one of the games they detail in Console Wars as being like basically a palette swap of Madden that EA did.
Yes, it is, and that's this game right here.
Oh, okay. There's like, hey, we're gonna release 2 football games this year and put different company names on them so people won't know. It's like, oh, this is literally the same thing. That and I was kind of looking for this Buster Douglas boxing game because
Played it.
yeah, I guess he had briefly dethroned Mike Tyson as the heavyweight champion, but before the game came out, he lost to Evander Holyfield. But they already had this like promotional deal in place. They're just like, what do we do? Like he's kind of no one likes him anymore already. Like should we just keep going? And they're just like, yeah, like we'll just lean into it. We'll be ironic about it. We'll be all Sega edgy. Gunstar Heroes.
Heroes.
Just, I'm reading it backwards. Okay.
One of the best games ever released on an old system. I
That's
absolutely
treasure
love it.
stuff, right? Like,
Yes.
yeah.
It's so
Like,
good.
was like a Sega all about just like fast paced arcade action or something?
Yes.
Because that seems
For-
like what a lot of the big hits are.
That's they were the I had played pinball on the NES. They were the first time I played a pinball game that didn't feel like ass. And then after
On
that,
the system. Yeah.
even like on PC, like PC pinball was absolutely terrible for the longest time. And
Yeah.
I'm not really sure why. I think it's because they couldn't get like the analog feel of pushing a button and then something happening on the screen right, so it was all digital. There was
Okay.
something about Sega. Dragon's Fury had it. Spinball is a little laggy in its response, but it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of my most played games as well.
Yeah. That was
Mortal Kombat 2.
unedited, dude. You just rip up dudes. Like
Yep.
the discussion about rating systems and stuff centers around that and Night Trap, and they talk about that a lot in Console Wars and all the legal stuff. So,
Yeah.
and like it's weird seeing like, oh, Night Trap was actually kind of promoted. Like I was watching old commercials and stuff, and they were like, hey, the CD's coming out, check it out, and there was just like footage from Night Trap on this TV ad, and you're just like, that game was so controversial, people got so upset. It's weird. But like Sega, I guess, had actually a rating system before anybody else. So they got this GA thing, the VRC. They kind of set that up because they were getting more heat than Nintendo was on the rating front.
That's because Sega did what Nintendo don't.
Yeah, set up rating systems. Like,
Honestly,
it's true.
yeah. Oh, wait, here it is. There you go. Aladdin.
Awesome. All right. Apparently that was one of the best selling games on the system. So. Oh, dude, that and like Echo, I'm curious about. Echo the Dolphin.
Echo is fantastic.
It's actually good.
It's It's good
Or
in a
kind
way
of
that
cool?
you wouldn't expect because it's a
Okay.
fucking dolphin, but the swimming actually feels really, really nice in that game for some
Okay.
reason.
Yeah, I'm curious. And I guess there's a 3D one on Dreamcast. Like there's an Echo the Dolphin game on Dreamcast, and I have no idea how that turned out. I didn't hear anyone saying whether or not that was worth anybody's time. But the original, I guess people really like. Is there more than one on Genesis or no? Is there just Echo the
Echo,
Dolphin?
there's
Yeah,
two.
there's two. Okay.
Echo and Tides of Time, I think, is the
Okay.
second one.
Time traveling
E-
dolphins.
Echo, yeah, that's what it was.
Okay.
Echo Tides
They
of Time. Hmm.
that game weirdly comes up a couple times in here too. Like the initial pitch apparently happened at like a celebration dinner. It's like, no, 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 hear me out. You're a dolphin, and it's just like done, amazing, greenlit. Like everyone was stoked. It was
Have
weird.
you have you seen what the final boss of Echo is? Like, has that been
No,
ruined for you yet? It's fucking
no.
terrifying.
Oh
Okay,
wow, okay. I
I
want to
don't
see
know.
that happen then. That'll be cool.
Like in the first, like without
I better close
spoilers
the
or anything.
chat right now, or someone's just gonna be like, "It's an oil rig" or something. It's like,
No,
oh
no,
shit.
no, no. See, that's why it's scary. I'll tell you what it is because it does. It's the imagery is
It doesn't
scary.
mitigate the impact of what it
It's an
looks like.
alien. Like it's an alien,
What?
but it's terrifying.
That's so weird. Why? Like, are you in the Bermuda Triangle? Like, what is the rationale?
It it kind of reminds me of. Do you remember Fantoon from Super Metroid?
Which is that a creature? Like, is that a specific?
It's a boss or mini boss or whatever. It's the one that floats around in the like broken down facility.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway,
In
it
Super Metroid?
in Super Metroid. It reminds me very much of Fantoon.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And I kind of fucked up my shelf here, but the Sega games are behind the Nintendo games actually, so a
So it's
bunch
just
of
like throw
cartridges
these
are
out of the way.
everywhere, except for
Yeah.
this one, the best
Like, I honestly.
SNES game out there. Yo,
What is
you
that?
guys like Injustice and fighting games? This game did it first, bro. All the superheroes from DC Universe fighting each other, and it plays fucking terribly. This is Justice League Task Force.
Great.
Yeah. They they move so bad. I played so many hours of it.
I honestly haven't really built up much of a Genesis collection. Most of the games I have, I just acquired with the Genesis. I think these are the two I purchased on their own. Lost
Oh,
Vikings.
Lost Vikings. Lost Vikings is so good. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Again, I played the SNES version though, so I don't know if this one's significantly different. But yeah, those are the only ones I remember being like, "Oh, I want to buy this." But now I can kind of freely look for more stuff at
Oh,
swap meets,
um
Xbox and whatever.
like I can lend you Sega games if you want. If you wanted to go through the Sonic games, I have those.
I mean, I have Sonic, Sonic 2, and Knuckles, so maybe I need 3 to check out or something at some point, but
Did you ever play
yeah.
Vector Man?
No. Are those
If you
cool?
No, not really. But if you have
Okay.
the opportunity to, you should check that out because it was like Sega's first like it tried to do the Donkey Kong thing of like a 3D space and a 2D environment and
Yeah.
where Donkey Kong actually made monkeys and things that looked like animals,
Hmm.
Vector Man is literally circles and balls. Like all he's made out of balls.
Yeah, well, he's
So
Vector. Yeah, that kind of
well, yeah, he look
implies.
what he looks
Yeah.
like is a motion capture dude, but like instead of like the black suit with balls on it, he's literally just the balls.
Okay. Well, could
Toe
be
Jam
fun.
and Earl's one you should probably check out.
I have that on Wii Virtual Console, but yeah,
Mhm.
if I want to
The
check out
Lion
Wii.
King is fantastic.
Really? Like other Disney games are pretty good too?
Yeah, Golden Axe was one of my favorite games on that
Okay.
system as well. I don't have it. I've never owned it, but Game Dudes, man, that was
Golden
the
Axe.
place.
Okay. Oh, yes. That is also where I played Lemmings for the first time, which is what I've been mostly playing on the Genesis. But
Yeah.
yeah, level 28. It's towards the end of the fun tier before it gets tricky. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Cool Spot, was that on the Genesis? Was that one of the was that a
I
SNES game?
I honestly don't remember. I never played it.
Okay. I remember it was like, this is pretty good for like an advert game. That's basically just 7 Up is great, the game.
Yeah,
But
that was the game.
I don't know. Sega stuff. I don't know what else to really look for, like build a wish list or something, but yeah.
Sega's a weird one because while like
It seemed
if
a
you're
lot
talking
of it was licensed games, like it's just like Batman Returns. It's like I don't like is that good? Like a lot of licensed games were pretty bad.
the
Like
best thing
Cliffhanger.
I have to say about the Sega channel Sega was the Sega channel, which I had growing up,
Oh,
because
really? They talk about that in there, but I didn't know it actually came to fruition. Like,
it did
what
come to
was it?
fruition and it was expensive as fuck. So my parents
Okay.
only got it for us for 2 months because it was like, I can't even remember. I think it was like $90 a month for just
Jesus, what
that.
was it? What was it? Did they
Okay,
beam games to your house?
imagine Steam, okay?
Yeah.
But instead of a store page, they give you 20 games every month, different games, and you can pick and choose which one you want to play.
Like, but it just loads up on your TV?
Yes. So
Okay.
it was a cartridge that would go into the system and stick out, and then you would plug the Cat 5, not Cat 5, the coaxial cables into it. So
Yeah.
there would be the cable running from your like wall into the Sega cartridge, and then another cable coming out of that into your television.
So it was like a weird system that needed the cable to work?
Well, I mean, like the internet, right? The internet
Yeah,
is
yeah.
essentially just that.
So did the games like play totally fine? Like it wasn't
Honestly,
impacted?
yes, which was
Okay.
really weird. My favorite game at that time was Beavis and Butthead was the first one I played on that, and it was just it was great because it was one of those things I was like, I didn't have to pay money or go to a store for this, and I'm playing Beavis and Butthead right here at like 2 in the morning.
I mean, my parents did, and it's on their cable bill, but it's so
Yeah,
convenient.
it was
Yeah.
so expensive. Like I can't believe we somehow got them into doing that for
Like, do
us.
you keep the
Ridiculous.
cart after your subscription ends, or what?
No,
Like,
it's like a modem. You rent it essentially.
oh man, because I was like, oh, if you have this old Sega Channel like cart that doesn't do anything now, but okay, no, they took it back.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know what it was. They just kind of talk about this weird ambitious idea that one of their staff members has to go develop, and then I didn't know it actually happened.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Also, yes, 3D Homer Battletoads did come out for the Genesis. I think there's a reason why people don't talk about it as much as the SNES version, though. I never played it, so
Like Battle Maniacs, or was it that one with like a Double Dragon?
the one with Double Dragon, there was another one I can't remember the name of right now,
Hmm.
but there no, it was just the first one. Was it a port or was it like a redo? I never
Re-release like buffed up graphics or something?
I never played it, and that's part of the problem is that I can't speak from experience. But I do know it came out on that.
Hmm.
But I'm pretty sure people have said there's a reason why nobody played it on that, and it's because it was garbage.
Oh, what's the light gun called for the Genesis?
I
Do you
never had
know?
it. I have no idea.
I
Nope.
think the Menacer. Does that sound right?
Yeah, sure, probably.
Okay, I think there was like a 6-in-1 game cart that was like, oh, this is for the light gun. I think it was called Minister 6 or something. I was like, I can't play this. Like, I could get this, but what would I do with it? Like, it would be
I've
useless.
The Sega Channel was like the only peripheral I've ever had for the Sega
Oh,
system.
you didn't get any like CD or 32X or any of that stuff? Yeah.
Unfortunately, no.
Okay. That's where like reading about the Genesis timeline is just bizarre. Of just like, what did they do? It's just like, yeah, we just added a whole giant thing. You just plug it into the side, and there you go. Play some new stuff. It's like,
Well,
all
the funny
right.
thing about that is that is actually a brilliant idea where they just made add-ons to like their base system is fine and they
Mm-hmm.
try to keep up with the times making these add-ons. However, it was old it's basically putting new
Old
walls on
technology.
old architecture.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't work when you get to a certain point, which was why the 32X and above was fucking terrible for the most part. Like you
Even
can
the
do some
CD
things
seeing
fine.
like these shrunken like video happening in the center. It's like, isn't that cool? It's got full video. It's like
It's like,
this is the
yeah, no, it's
worst.
really not.
Like, thanks for trying. I guess you needed the more storage space or whatever, and now I can make music videos, but I don't wanna do that.
Night
But hey,
Trap's
speaking
fantastic though.
speaking of Marky Mark, watch Pain and Gain again. Movie's still good. Have you
That
seen it
movie
yet?
is good.
Yeah, okay, good.
Wait,
Good, good, good.
we've talked about it, you and I.
Did we do a thing about it? Like we write stuff or just talk about it?
No, there that Matt guy that mysteriously fell off the face of the earth because I haven't heard from him did a review on it on the site.
Oh, okay.
But like, yeah, no, we should have done something about that one. We should do digital digressions again because they're super easy and trivial to do.
It's true. I think I know I reviewed Pain and Gain as well, but I don't
Maybe,
know if
okay, maybe it was your review then.
okay.
Unless, did you do the review for Beetroot?
No, no, no. This was after Beetroot, and I was just kind of like, I'm just excited about this movie. I'm gonna write some stuff, and I wrote a thing about it. But
I guess I
yeah,
could
that
tell you in two.
movie's
Mhm.
like, it's just weird to see a Michael Bay movie that has like a screenplay that was like thought out and has purpose behind it. Like, it's just like you should make
Yes.
more of these. You should not be doing the script mints, like just kind of, we'll figure it out. We'll just throw some CG on it. It'll make sense. Like, it's just like we have a crime story that has a beginning, end, and characters and things that happen. Like, he can do that really well. So I don't
Yeah.
know. It's kind
And
of
I
weird.
I apologize. It was you that did that.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. So,
Uh, so I
oh,
forgot we
funny thing
talked about
about
it. You
that
forgot I
too.
wrote about it. That's fine.
Well, quick funny aside to that is that that's when I was trying to push Google Plus a little bit harder than I was or like ever have before after that. And I put that up on Google Plus as like what like want to see some hot dudes or something? There's just something like that. Krasnor reviews Pain and Gain, like just some dumb shit.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
got a creepy pervert guy that was saying something about wanting like either you or I or whoever to come on him or something. It was
What?
I know it was really weird. And then I was just like, is this guy for real? So I
It's
went
like
to
Google
his
Plus is
page.
weird. Yeah.
I went to his page and he's just like basically like gay homosexual assaulting like everybody that says like hot and the words hot and dude in like the same sentence.
Oh, okay. So we just got tagged. Like, it's just like follow this, and I'm gonna say this to you and you. Great.
The internet's a weird place, Nathan.
I know. I know. But hey, movies.
Yeah.
I was trying to fishtail out. I saw new movies, like quite a few in the last like 60 hours or so. Um,
So like the
oh,
last 3 days roughly,
I don't know if I'm
maybe a
gonna
bit more.
maybe go in like ascending order of quality, not the order I saw them. So Annabelle is okay. It's not
Does it
that
go in the
it's
barrel?
no. And I was kind of surprised because I was expecting it to be just kind of like it's kind of a cheap cash in on The Conjuring, like just kind of this prequel no one really needed. But it actually has qualities to it. Like the acting's totally fine. They actually put a decent amount of thought into the story and stuff. It's still kind of novel to see a horror movie set in like the 60s. Like it's very clearly kind of like, hey, Rosemary's Baby, late 60s. Uh-huh. So it's got like creepy baby carriages and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
And demons and whatever. But uh, I don't know. It was actually pretty entertaining for the most part. I don't like I think like whereas The Conjuring, I was almost convinced like this might just be a great movie on its own. Like you don't, it's not just like you need to be in the right mood or like oh it's a cool one time thing. Like this movie, I'm pretty sure is a one time view. Like you see the thrill ride and then you're done. But we saw it with a good, excitable crowd too, like a full theater, just like freaking out and yelling and stuff.
That helps a
So
lot.
it's just like there's a demon on screen, and everyone's just like, oh, oh my god! You're just like, all right, like I don't think it's that intense, but being in this weird environment of people freaking out definitely helps. And there was one scene that I was like kind of impressed by, but it maybe overstayed it kind of did its thing too many times. But I can basically describe it. Uh,
Okay.
so in like it's like oh no, there's an evil thing, I gotta run. Gets to the elevator, door closes. Usually it's like, okay, they made it. Here, the door opens again, and they're still on the same floor, and there's like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Door closes, opens again, same floor. Oh no! And like it's just like the elevator is not cooperating with them escaping.
That's
And it
great.
was like they just kind of keep opening the door and you're just like, oh, it's the same floor, oh no! And like the character's freaking out. And like I think they do it literally like 4 times. So
Oh
like by the
man,
last time it's like, come on. And then she like freaks out and runs to the exit and runs up the stairs. But it was like, oh yeah, like in other movies, it's just like, sweet, we made it to the elevator, we made it. Like the door closed, we're safe. But it's like, what if the elevator didn't cooperate or didn't, the evil kind of thought about that and just opened the door again. It was kind of a cool moment.
Hmm.
But yeah, creepy doll. It's like a spooky doll that's sitting around and bad stuff happens around it and people don't put that together for a while and they're just like, what? No, it's fine. Didn't I throw that in the garbage? Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
it's like Night of the Living Dummy.
Or like, there's a Twilight Zone episode that it reminds me of with Telly Savalas, but like, or also that Simpsons with the Krusty doll. Like, there's
Sure,
like a Treehouse of Horror and stuff, which is based on the Twilight
it's
Zone thing.
it's a really old concept
Yeah,
in horror.
Chucky, all that stuff. There's like
Yeah.
references to Chucky. There's like there's a theater name or something that says Barclay, and I guess that's the last name of one of the characters. Uh, the name Annabelle is actually from that Twilight Zone episode I mentioned. So like, there's all sorts of kind of like, we know stuff. Like Polanski, like the baby carriage is just straight out of that poster, like
Mm.
Rosemary's Baby poster. It just comes up a couple times,
The cover
and I
art
guess
for or the poster art for Annabelle reminds me of Dead Silence, which
yeah,
kind of
totally. And it's like
annoys me.
James Wan was totally like director of that movie, and he produces this because it's like a Conjuring spinoff, and Conjuring is his thing.
Sure,
So
sure.
yeah, Dead Silence is so dumb, but
Yeah,
it like swings for the fence right at the end, and I thought it was totally hilarious. And it's like
dude.
80 minutes.
Oh my god, like swinging for the fence doesn't even. If you, for anyone listening to this, if you haven't
Oh
seen
god.
Dead Silence and you want to be maybe a little underwhelmed for an hour or so, and then see the dumbest shit you've ever seen in film, go ahead and
Yeah,
watch that.
it's worth a watch. It's like basically like an extended episode of like Tales from the Crypt or something, and then it just has like the
It
last
has a Tales from the
5 minutes.
Crypt ending. Let's
For
be
sure.
honest.
It
Yeah,
totally does. And it's just like, what? And it just ends on that. And it's like, okay, that was entertaining. And Donnie Wahlberg shaves all the time. And it's the stupidest character hook ever, but that's what they give him. So,
that's right.
yeah. I mean, critics are hating this movie right now. It's at like 24%. It made tons of money, though. It got like $37 million. I think it's better than 24%. Like, it's totally fine. But it's like a
Okay.
one-shot deal. Like, it's like, do you want to see a horror movie in the month of October with like a bunch of people? This one exists, and they do their job. Like, they kind of know the cliches they're hitting sometimes and kind of acknowledge them. Like, there's a woman who works in this like bookstore, and as soon as like the person mentions like ghosts and stuff, she's like, ah, yeah, aisle 4, and like shows her all these haunted stuff books, and it's just like, okay, like this movie knows that this is not new, but it
Mm.
still has fun with it.
That's
And yeah,
like
just demons.
that's kind of how I felt about Darkness Falls. Like I don't know if that movie knew it was like mentally handicapped in the way that
Is that the
it
Tooth
was.
Fairy one? What is
That's the
that?
Tooth Fairy one. Yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen that. I just saw
Yeah,
the trailer a bunch.
it's so dumb, but it was one of those things that's like, yo, it's January. There's no way a horror movie's coming out for the next 10 months. Wait, there's one out. Let's go see that now. And
Yeah,
that's
okay.
and it was like there was a bunch of people like-minded about that, so it was a good time at the theater. Watching that again at home on the DVD release, I was just like, this is like one of the worst things.
Yeah, I am 3D Homer's pointing out tropes is like the new trope, and yeah,
Well,
but
Scream did that, and
I
they
didn't
all want to
feel
be
they were
that successful.
too blunt about it. There was a shot. There's like a thing that happens in this movie that is like straight out of Scream 1, where it's just like, I'm gonna put this like this popcorn on the burner, and as it inflates, the tension is going up
Amazing.
in the scene. Yeah, I was just like, this is a weird thing to like acknowledge. I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna put this Jiffy Pop on here, and oh no, something horrible. They're just like,
Have
what?
Have you watched Scream like as an adult ever? The first one.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
That film does some stuff very well, I will say.
Uh,
There's some
Acknowledging
really
its
there's some
stuff
really
with like
good like
the
stuff
double
that
killer,
only Wes Craven, like a director that has been around
done this a
the
bunch.
tropes or whatever,
Yeah, yeah,
could pull
yeah, yeah.
off just subtly, and that's one of the things that I was going to discuss with you is the very
Well, playing
beginning,
with the expectations thing. Oh,
the
okay,
playing
sorry.
with expectations, but the beginning thing specifically about the popcorn and like it's rising and about to pop as the situation is about to pop on screen. Like there's a lot of weird little things throughout that entire movie that makes
Yeah.
that kind of a fantastic movie in a way. I still like that movie quite a bit, but it ruined my life as a kid for
Mm.
various reasons.
But I don't know. This movie did its job totally fine, and
And it's
I
not
don't know
in the
if it
barrel.
I don't know if it plays with kind of like, oh, like the camera moved over here. What's happening over here? Like they're actually kind of restrained with the way they do the doll stuff. There's not a lot of like, there's like just it's a creepy ass doll. Like it's just the doll is in frame. That's what's creepy. It's not like it's gonna move suddenly or do something. It's just there's a doll here. The music's a little thick and end scene kind of stuff. Like there's some good kind of just delicately playing with the audience kind of stuff. So yeah, it was pretty fun. Uh, the Equalizer with Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
He kills a bunch of Russian dudes, and it's like so straightforward in a lot of ways. It's just like there are some bad guys. He won't stand for that. He's really good. Like it was almost reminding me of like Taken kind of stuff. Just like I have an incredible set of skills, and I'm just gonna kill all of you because you're like messing with someone I care about, and he's good at doing that. So try to think what the movie was. I was thinking it was kind of like The Punisher. It was kind of like watching The Punisher, but it starred Denzel Washington. So
That
it's like a
sounds way
really good
better.
actor. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It
Yeah.
was like this is almost some of the same stuff sometimes, like with The Punisher, of just like there's just bad dudes. Like there's almost like a couple kills that are very similar as The Punisher as well. But I don't know. There's a good intense bad guy. Denzel Washington does a great job. It's well shot and stuff. It's maybe kind of just grimy, small crime movie, not like big action stuff a lot. Like there's not like big action set pieces. It's more like a guy fights five other guys and kills them horribly, like with just knives and bottles and whatever's around kind of thing. But yeah, that was kind of fun to watch. Really, just do you want to see Denzel Washington like kill people? Like it's like Man on Fire 2 or something. Like it's not high art really, but it did its job as well. And just Denzel Washington walking around with like cool music playing and like just kind of in
There's
the
a good
dark, just
question in the chat right now. I am 3D
Rambo type
Homer is
stuff.
asking, how did it stand up to Man on Fire?
Uh, pretty well, I guess. Like I'm
Okay.
not. It doesn't have the same stylistic kind of quick cuts, weird kind of
No movie
color
ever
filter
will
stuff.
again. Rest in
Tony
peace.
Scott, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, has his own kind of distinct thing. This is more straightforward in that respect, but like there was a scene that was kind of almost similar to like there's the torture scene where he's clipping the guy's fingers in Man on Fire. There's kind of a thing in this that's sort of like that involving a car, and yeah,
I just quickly want to
there's some
address
solid
something
stuff.
that's going on in the chat. There's actually
Yeah.
9 Children of the Corn movies.
Oh man,
So, yeah.
I only saw the first one and I thought it was okay.
Yeah,
But
there's the first one, Children of the Corn 2, The Final Sacrifice, Children of the Corn 3, Urban Harvest, Children of the Corn 4, The Gathering, Children of the Corn 5, Fields of Terror. This is where it gets good. Children of the Corn 666, Isaac's Revenge, Children of the
Alright.
Corn Revelation. This is the best part here. Children of the Corn Genesis came out in 2011. 3 years ago, they still made a Children of the Corn movie. And the last one is Children of the Corn that was made specifically only for a TV movie for sci-fi.
and that came out like recently, like even more so.
Not more so recently, sorry. That I just kept that separate because it wasn't
skipped over
a
that
film.
one because it's this weird TV
It's
movie.
a TV
Okay.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah, that dude Isaac, he was he's 20 something in the first movie, but he's like really diminutive, right? But good looking. Isn't that guy? He's just kind of a creepy dude. Do you remember Isaac?
In the first one?
Yeah, isn't he the head kid kind of thing?
Yeah, he's if I remember correctly, he's the guy that's in Event Horizon.
Event Horizon.
The kid that gets stuck in the airlock and his skin pulls really tight against his
Oh,
veins and stuff.
weird. Okay.
Let me look it up quickly.
Anyway, yeah, I watched the first one. There's a weird demon, and that was kind of cool. But that was like a good 90-minute thing too. That was on Netflix one night, that kind of thing. So Annabelle, Equalizer. Sorry if we're gonna finish with Isaac trivia before we move on to the.
No, sir, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to see. Okay, no, he wasn't. That was a different person completely.
Sorry, I brought it up,
Last,
but yeah, all I was really saying is what's being said in the chat right now. Isaac is creepy, just creepy guy.
he is.
That's why I brought him up. But
Yeah,
yeah.
John Franklin. Apparently, I had
cool.
no idea.
The last of the new stuff I saw was Gone Girl, which is the new David Fincher movie, which I went into pretty apprehensive because I don't especially like Ben Affleck. I don't especially like Tyler Perry. I've never read this book or anything. But really, those first two reasons are the main reasons. I was like, this cast is kind of dicey. What are you doing? Watching it, both of those dudes do totally fine. Like, they're absolutely do not detract at all. Tyler Perry's actually pretty funny, where appropriate. Ben Affleck is kind of perfect in that he's just kind of doofy sometimes. It's just like, I just want to play PlayStation. Like, what? Like, he's just kind of like loaf about dude, and that plays into the story and stuff. But it's a movie where like you can't really get too much into what happens, or else it spoils the whole mystery. Like, it's kind of a mystery, like a disappearance case, who did it, who, like, what's going on, like, for the most part. But ultimately, it ends up being like just a really slick version of like kind of those 90s sex thrillers, like Basic Instinct came to mind. I was just like, what
Okay,
if you made like a really good movie that was like that steamy and pulpy kind of
wasn't
thing?
the game one of those too?
The game is David Fincher as well, with Michael Douglas.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. It was kind of, yeah, it kind of reminded me of like the game and Seven, like, combined.
Oh, weird. Okay,
So it gets like fucked sometimes, but it's also
okay.
just like, oh, fun little kind of involving the eye, like, oh, there's clues and just kind of like this mystery, and then it just goes some places that are just like, oh, what? Like, there's a moment in that movie that's so fantastic and so earned. So yeah, it is worth watching, and I was really really happy with that result because I was not exactly excited about it before I saw it. But I I guess the author of the book, Gillian Flynn, also wrote the screenplay. So I
Okay.
guess she changed some stuff for the movie. So I don't really know what that means for the book and stuff. I'm
Like
always kind of curious.
so
So
that
that
the
it would
people that read
surprise
the
you
book.
again.
Okay,
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
good. I like when people do that a lot.
So I'm not sure what that would mean for like what elements are changed, because there's kind of like some later plot stuff that's like after some of the big revelations. It's like, did they just tweak that, or did they change like fundamental parts of this whole story? That would be kind of crazy. But I don't know. It is it's quite a watch, and yeah, that movie is R rated. Like, it's like, I went into it, it's like, oh, it's 18A, weird, why? And it's like, I don't know. There's like stuff where it's just like, wow, that is some dark places. Kind of funny though. Like, it's like dark comedy for most of it. Like, just kind of seeing things play out, and like, yeah, Ben Affleck just kind of getting in over his head in this situation, being interviewed by cops asking him stuff. Like, it's essentially like, did you kill your wife? And it's like, what? Like, just this kind of goofball guy. And I don't know. Also, there's a trailer for Taken 3, and that looks like it's basically The Fugitive. Like, it's just,
Okay.
it's no longer people being taken. It's like, Liam Neeson killed his wife. We gotta stop that guy. It's like, no, I didn't. I'm gonna run and, like, try to prove my innocence while on the run and fighting dudes.
What?
Yeah.
That's so
Nope.
weird.
Nobody's taken. Like, he is taken, I guess, by the cops briefly, but in the trailer he breaks out, and like Forrest Whitaker's chasing him. So yeah, it's going to be that kind of cat mouse dynamic, which could
I
be
got a
totally cool.
specific set of skills that
Yeah,
lets me break out of prison.
it's like this is somewhat outside my set of skills, but they are still sort of applicable in this situation. So
That'd be great if you
yeah,
actually said that.
the end of the trailer still has him say like "good luck," so that's the kind of part of that speech they're harkening back to. But he says it now. I don't know. It's that second movie wasn't good. I don't.
I never saw it
It's not
at
that
all.
good.
Okay.
But this third one, I don't know. I the guy who directed like Transporter 3 is making it. Like I action
Okay.
movies. So yeah, that's the new movie stuff. I don't want to divulge more about Gone Girl other than it's totally worth seeing. And if you were worried about the cast and stuff, they play their roles totally perfectly, so it's fine.
Okay.
But man, like a better conversation could be had with people who have both seen it, because there's some stuff that's like point by point. You could be like, wow, this did this better than this movie, and this did this better than this movie. But it's like once you start saying those things, you're like spoiling this movie. So I don't want to do that because it's
Digital
just fresh, right?
digressions coming soon.
Totally. If you're down for watching it, like I could totally write about that because it's just like,
Okay.
man, that one part, what? Ah, they were playing Battlefield, but I wasn't sure if that scene was set in 2008 or 2010. I don't know. These are important gaming conversations we could have, but because there's Battlefield 3, but what I wasn't sure if that scene was set in 2011, so it might be an anachronism. So keep an eye out. Watch for that.
I will. Should I talk about a movie? I have a
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
It came out last year. It's called The Frozen Ground.
Frozen Ground.
Nicolas Cage and John Cusack.
I watched this. Okay. How did you feel about it? Like Vanessa Hudgens, right? Was she the young
As
prostitute girl?
that got away?
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
that's right.
How did I not catch that? Oh, because she was a prostitute that looked fucked up, probably.
Yeah, so it's just she's a big role in that movie. But yeah, okay. John
Huge
Cusack
role.
versus Nicolas Cage.
I would say the biggest role in that movie, honestly.
Kinda.
Next to maybe John Cusack.
Yeah, Cage doesn't get to cut loose really in that movie. He's just a cop, kind of like he's doing his job, but he has like a scene. But anyway, yeah.
I will say, I think this is the first time I've seen John Cusack in like just a mentally disturbed, like weird killer role.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to think. I was trying to think of other things, and it's like Grosse Point Blank. He was a hitman, but like he was quirky or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
and he's still kind of the good guy.
He wasn't like what's his name, the hitman, like Agent 47 or something. He was just a dude, and like John Cusack is always just like the young cop or something. Like, if anything, you usually see him in Nicolas Cage's role in this movie, like trying to find the dude that's doing all this stuff. I think one of the things I really enjoyed about the movie too is that they kind of know right away who the dude is. They're just trying to prove it and nail him. So
yeah,
it felt very much like a special episode of like Special Victims Unit, like Law and Order or something, with Nick Cage. So if that sounds interesting to you, you might enjoy this a lot, because that's essentially what this is.
Yeah, like the part of it that kind of weirded me out was like at the end of the movie, they go like, "We're gonna dedicate this to the victims of the serial killer."
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that
And it's
too.
like-
The weird thing is that like the end movie, I can't remember the song that plays, but we're just gonna say Sarah McLachlan's "Arms of the Angel." Essentially,
Okay.
it's like one of the sappy like "In the arms of the angel" sort of thing with like the credits playing, and there's just like pictures of all these dead women and the year they died and
it's
stuff.
like-
It's really weird.
This is a little too serious for like this movie was not being super light with the subject matter, but it's still like we're dramatizing this true life crime thing that happened. But it's like we're gonna kind of apologize for doing that, or like kind of tip
I
our
don't know what they
hats
were
or
trying to
something.
do.
It
was
was weird.
weird.
I thought that was a strange note to end on, but yeah, like this is a true story that happened in Alaska, and this dude would like hunt people, and John Cusack plays him. And the thing, I thought his like wood panel basement looked really nice, but
Yeah.
bad stuff's happening there, so you can't, it's like oh, interior design was tight, but man, that guy's crazy. So
Hmm.
yeah, it doesn't. I don't know.
I really
Yeah.
like how the chain on the middle post really brings the room together.
See, that's the part where it's like, oh, this is ominous now. It's not just like, I'm gonna play some pool down here in the den and play some records.
There was
But
something really disturbing to me, like one of the girls that he took or whatever in that movie. In fact, actually the only girl he took in that movie,
mhm.
because like the rest of them had been previously or whatever. But like the girl he has it captured at the point in the movie and she's like tied up. She
Mhm.
like pisses all over the ground and
Mhm.
like I don't know, there's something about that scene that made me feel really uncomfortable. Where it's
Yeah.
just like this is maybe too real right now. Where
Yeah. No, it's grungy. But
yeah,
serial killer movies, man. True life crime. That's what happens. I wish it was better, but it was okay. I don't
it,
know.
you know what? It's on Netflix. That's how I
Yeah.
saw it. It's totally
It's
fine for a free watch,
it's like
easily.
it's worth a click, you know. Like don't go
Yeah,
You don't have to go track it down or anything. If it's like just like, I got like 2 hours, sure. Like it's
yeah.
there and it's all right.
I watched
Uh,
another movie. I can
okay.
quickly say it's called "Killing Them Softly."
Oh, sweet. Did you like it?
Okay,
I haven't seen it in a
I
while,
I
but
I
I
have to
like
say one
things
thing.
about it quite a bit. But
I'm
yeah.
missing the last 10 minutes of the movie. I have to just.
Oh, what?
I know.
No.
I have to see the last 10 minutes, so don't spoil that. I'm probably gonna watch it tonight.
Oh,
I
okay. The last 10 minutes has like the scene I remember the most. So, okay,
okay,
okay.
but like so
But
far, yeah. I don't know. It's one of these weird movies that
mhm.
I I don't really know how to explain it. It's all just about the characters. That and like there's a lot of talking, a lot of like names floating around, some of them of which characters you'll never even meet in
Yeah,
the movie.
like just
Like,
people talking about their past and other people they've dealt with, and it's just like this doesn't really pertain to right now, but okay.
mhm.
Do you find the political thread through it is too in your face, or
Yes,
do
it
you
really
like it?
is.
All right,
It's
you're
it's too in my
yeah,
face because the movie literally starts with the Obama speech,
yeah,
and
it
then there's
does.
like every time there's something fucked up or quote unquote fucked up about to happen, there's like something on the radio or on a television set talking about stuff that pertains to like maybe why there's mobsters and stuff in this city or like what's going on with like the political side of what's happening in the country. And
Hmm.
it's I don't know if it's maybe the sound balance, but the like radio program or the television program or whatever in those scenes is really loud, like really
Yeah,
loud. Everything else seems completely drowned out.
they seem to
And
like
so yeah,
make sure you don't miss that is playing and listen to the audio content there. Like people, yeah, it was criticized for being kind of heavy handed with that. I kind of just liked like that was its one at addition to just it's a straightforward gangster story about gangsters getting in criminal doings and over their head and killing each other. It's like we're gonna just
yeah.
kind of maybe clumsily, but we're just gonna bolt on this political analogy right here and put it right beside it, and there you go. And it's just like, all right, I
It
was
ha-
okay with that,
it has a
but
great cast too for like the mobster thing
yeah,
going on in
Leota,
it
like
too.
I don't know who the
Leota,
pair of dudes are, but like Scoot McNairy and that super high British guy or
yeah,
whatever, like
yeah.
he's also in Place Beyond the Pines. He's the guy that helps Ryan Gosling, but I don't know if you've seen that yet, but
I haven't.
that pair of characters just screwing up like their stupid sawed-off shotgun and just
So good.
like incompetent criminals, like first-time robbers kind of stuff. Like there's fun stuff there. And like I don't know, there's little stylistic flares here and there that I still really like. But yeah, I've been meaning to watch it again in light of now appreciating like James Gandolfini's gangster persona. Like this has him show up as like this aging gangster guy,
His
and it's
persona in
like
this is weird because it's kind of like the reason why he's brought in is because of his past and like what
yeah,
the stuff he's done. But when they bring him in, they find out that he's like a really broken person,
yeah,
just
yeah.
straight up. Yeah.
So like some of those speeches and stuff might be a little more like, oh, it's kind of like riffing on this or something. Like I don't know, like where Tony Soprano is confident and has it together, he is like totally shattered, and it's yeah. I
Seeing
kind of
James
want to look at that again.
Gandolfini's parts in this movie
Hmm.
makes me legitimately want to probably start watching The Sopranos. So that might be a
Okay,
thing
yeah.
because
There's some
he's so good in this
good stuff to
movie.
be
Like
there.
his lines and stuff, I don't know what it is. It's like he can go talking about like I can't remember if it was his wife or girlfriend or something like that, and
Hmm.
just be like a ruthless asshole in the next line instantly. And just
Hmm.
like the New York ball buster, like giving shit to the waiter about being too long with his drinks. He's just, this is like, that's his role, is the like mobster, just kind of dick guy.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
kind of want to see that for 6 seasons, is it?
There's a lot. Yeah, there's like
Yeah.
85 hours of that. So yeah,
Yeah.
okay. It works out great at work. Like it's actually
Sure.
like they're not short enough episodes to where you can just slip them in all the time, but that
Hmm.
it's shorter than a movie. There's usually enough gap there. I don't know.
It,
When I
that's kind
figured
of like
that
House
out,
of Cards, too.
sure. Oh yeah, so you watch those
Like,
there too. That works
yeah,
out.
like there was a few instant there. I basically could finish one, maybe two a night, but there was the like one-offs where I could watch eight in a row. Like some days that were just so dead I could watch 8 episodes, and
Hmm.
those were great. But like, yeah, that's what I like about the episodic thing is because it's like you watch 40 minutes to an hour of something. It's like, okay, I got to get back to work. You do a little bit more, you finish up, and then you watch another hour.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah,
it fits in the gap better than just like I'm gonna watch a whole story. Oh no, I gotta stop. It's just the worst. Like there were times where I'd get home and like finish watching a movie because we got like 9/10ths through it, and it's like, all right, what the hell
that's
happens with John Candy in this like stupid comedy? Okay, there it is. All right, cool.
Yeah,
Like
no,
now I
full
can go to bed.
disclosure. That's why Killing Them Softly, I haven't watched the last 10 minutes because I went home.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. Check out those last 10 minutes, man.
I
Brad Pitt
will.
said some stuff, and I thought it was cool. But yeah.
He's really good in that movie, too.
Yeah, like I really need to see it again though to like brush up a bit on it. But at the time, I was really impressed by it. That director also did Assassination of Jesse James, and that movie is long but also pretty slick in some places. So yeah, wait a second. What was I? Oh yeah, speaking of Jeremy Renner, I watched most of American Hustle again. It was like on TV while we were in Lethbridge.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Yeah, that movie's okay. Like I think we talked
Yeah.
about it being entertaining. Like it's
Yeah.
I don't know. I was
No.
like reminded anew about how good Christian Bale is in that movie. Like some of
Yes.
his like yeah, his character's fun to watch.
No, I
But
remember, like, what we were talking about. What I was saying is that doesn't need to be a movie. Like, I could listen to that with eyes closed because that's all about the
oh
voices
yeah,
and
this
the
was just like a really entertaining
conversations.
radio play or something. Like
Yeah.
most of the scenes turn on dialogue and stuff. So you could just have a person say something, the music kicks in and you're like, "Oh, oh, are they going to ruin this whole like scam they got going?" Like, yeah. And the story barely matters. Like watching it again is like, "Oh yeah,
It
I totally
doesn't.
forgot this ended like this." Or like I don't know. There's some good scenes in there though, like towards the end. But anyway, that was just
And
reminded
as I said, that was the first movie I watched where I found Jennifer Lawrence really attractive. So,
with the hair and everything, the
J
70s.
Law,
Yeah, the science oven. Just I'm gonna put this foil in it. Who cares?
the
So dumb.
science oven. Yeah,
That's what they call it.
it's so good.
That might be it for movies on my end for sure. Killing Them Softly, like that brought us up to an hour ago or something. Like you haven't quite finished it. Should we move on to video game stuff more
Sure,
or
yeah, yeah,
back
yeah.
to? I mean, we're talking about Sega stuff, but I've also been playing more of the Metroid Prime 3.
Do you want me to find some
Corruption.
video games to hold up in front of the
Yeah, if you
camera?
want. I don't have any. Oh,
I'm
okay.
okay. I'm not looking here. I just knocked over a bunch of shit.
See, this is kind of a shame. This is kind of a shame right here. So,
Demon Sword.
oh man, he's got X-Men on Genesis. Sweet. It's
Yeah.
actually Sonic 1. Like,
Oh no.
yeah, I got home from that garage sale. I was just like, oh, cool, whatever. Oh,
Hmm.
well, I like this game too, but it's kind of less novel. And now I have this case and no game, so that's kind of stupid.
Can we talk
But
about the biggest problem with buying a new retro system or acquiring an older system,
Yeah.
the biggest problem is that it is the only time in your life where you will know the people at a pawn shop by first name basis because you are in there every weekend.
What do you mean, swapping it out for stuff or getting new games for it,
Look,
or?
like seeing if, because pawn shops are essentially the Walmart of garage sales, right?
Yeah, like they have an inventory that stays there. You can go there all the time, and they'll have
Yep.
old
And
stuff,
it
and
keeps
that's what you're
coming
looking
in
for.
too. It keeps getting restocked by these random people's closets and garages across the
Hmm.
city. So I like, you can even ask John about this. There was a while there where every couple days we were going to a different cash converters looking for games. Just
Okay.
because, like, why the hell not? I think he still probably does because it's kind of his job to now. But
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. You can find some great stuff in those places. A little pricey at some points, but like if you go in with $20, you can probably walk out with two like good old games usually.
Maybe.
It
Yeah.
like lesser known games. If you're wanting to go for like an Earthbound or something, have a couple hundred ready because
Yeah. Yeah.
they will shark you if they know.
Like some of the, I mean, even Cash Rivers last time I went, like I picked up Rabbids Go Home for like $10 or something, like the Wii game. So like, there's games that got some acclaim or whatever in their time that aren't expensive. That's not even old though. I'm trying to think what's like that Ken
Final
Griffey game on
Fantasy VII
SNES
is a
was like
big
five
one that
dollars.
they sell for a lot
They
in those
overpriced
places.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, I got Rub Rabbits. Oh yeah, I bought some games in Lethbridge. I bought Yakuza for PS2 and Red Dead
That
Revolver for
okay,
PS2.
Yakuza is actually fantastic.
I've
So,
been curious about it for a while, so I guess Yakuza 2 is the rare one in the series. But I'll start with the first one, I guess, and see what's up. Uh, I think that's the one that has mandatory English voice acting, though. I don't think you can change it. I don't know if that's true
oh,
though.
I
But
don't
I
know
know
either.
Michael Madsen is in that game, and they were
Mhm.
like touting that at the time. But yeah, I'm honestly like once I'm done Metroid Prime 3, I think my next game might be Red Dead Revolver. Though I'm really curious about what that was because I like everyone got way into the sequel, including me. I was way into Redemption, but it's just like, how did this start? Like, what was this before? Like a smaller scale third person shooter? Like, there's horses and stuff in it though, and like I don't know. I remember it was decently regarded, but not to the extent of other like Rockstar releases at the time. I'm also not 100% clear on Rockstar's involvement in actually making it. You
I
know?
I always get Red Dead Revolver and Gun mixed up in my head. So like
Okay, I played Gun,
I don't
but
remember which is
well, Gun
which.
is the oh man, the skateboarding people. What is that? Never Soft.
Neversoft?
Yeah, that was their kind of big open world opus that they tried to do. And I remember, I actually, that game might be better than I remember. I played it on like the hardest difficulty because at the time 360 had just come out and like achievements were new. And I was like, well, I want
Yeah.
all the points. So I'm going to go for the hardest difficulty. And I like fought through that game. It was like stupid exploits of just like hiding behind this rock and like trying to pick off dudes and all this stuff. Like it was a miserable gameplay experience because I was making it difficult. And then I beat it and the achievements don't stack. And I was angry. I was like, oh, what? I did that for all of them. And it's like, no, you got to beat that game like 4 times. I was like, I never
Yeah.
want to play this
That
again.
was always the worst with achievements. It's like if I do it on the very hardest difficulty, you can probably assume I could do it on the other ones. Just fucking give me them.
Just give me
Seriously.
the acknowledgement. Yeah, it was disheartening.
Dark.
But he was in that. Michael
I
Madsen was
know.
in that
No,
weird
I know.
remake.
It's just that's not a thing I remember just off the top of my head.
That Midway, I never checked it out, but I bet it wasn't that good, but it might have been good. Like it might have been dumb fun, like Road to Respect.
Mm,
I don't know.
I
Sopranos.
thought you didn't like Road to Respect.
It was like one of those things where it's like it's so bad, but it has qualities in it that I wish were re like put into something good. Like, it was
Right.
like, man, you got the whole cast, you got all this voice acting, you actually wrote a decent script, but it's this shitty beat 'em up. Like, why did you do that? Like, it was, yeah, it had that frustrating thing. So yeah, that was like the worst game I played all the way through in a long time.
Remember Def Jam Icon?
I was actually looking up stuff about the Def Jam games like yesterday because I was like, wait, these are like licensed people. They can't
Yeah.
just re-release this again. So like Fight for New York is I guess kind of rare. Like it's worth 50, $60. And Vendetta is still pretty readily available. I played a bit of Icon. I like the idea of
I
the
thought you
the
played it at my house with me because that was the
I,
first time I had played it.
oh, maybe. But I remember renting it and playing it at
Oh,
home,
okay.
and like the idea of like the background like bobs to the beat and like stuff is happening in time with the music is like this is my language right here. This is awesome. But I was not getting too into the fighting. Like I was
I
not
think
really
I think
having a
the
good
thing I
time.
like is that when you have the two, like, for people that don't know, it's a fighting game, first of all.
Yeah,
And
featuring rappers and
it's
stuff.
rappers. So if you have like
Rappers
Method
wrestling.
Man versus like who else? Exhibit? Was he in that? I can't remember. Icon.
In the game, I don't remember. Let's
I
just
can't
say
remember.
if you got Method Man, Red Man might be in it as well. So say they're fighting.
So Method Man versus Redman or whatever, right?
Sure.
If Method Man's winning, his song booms louder, and then if the tables turn, Redman's song starts
Oh
booming
yeah,
louder,
that's right. You
and the
each have a
whole
track.
cityscape is just like fucking blowing up to the track. It's
Yeah,
so good.
Kudo Sonoda was big into pumping that game when it before it came out, and
Okay, you know what? That
yeah,
that has to be streamed this weekend. I swear to God, I'm gonna stream some Dev. I'm not gonna say for how long because that game's notoriously hard to control. So
I could not figure out the combat and stuff. It's like I like this
yes,
idea of like fighting dudes and music is happening, but why is this such a weird like grappling system or something? It has weird things in it, so I didn't crack through that and figure it out.
it's really hard. I haven't either. It's really hard to control. It's very timing based, I think, too. But I can't remember if it was Redman or Method Man. It was one of the mans for sure. That like they would stomp on the ground and like the whole screen would shake in time with the music. It was so dumb. God, that game was fucking stupid as shit. I want it bad.
Uh,
It's on a shelf somewhere here where it should be. Nowhere near the barrel on the mantle. That's where it should be. I'm just seeing if I can find who was in it. Redman was in it. Sean Paul was in it. T.I., The Game, Young Jeezy, Young Jock, Nas. Okay, there's my boy right there. I
all
actually like
right,
Nas quite a
he was
bit.
on that
So,
Space Jam soundtrack, so it's pretty good.
see, what song did he do?
Totally different track. I don't know because I honestly only listened to like 3 tracks on that soundtrack over and over.
Okay,
So yeah,
Space Jam soundtrack. I'll quickly find it here because I'm genuinely interested as to what he did on there.
yeah. Games with licenses are the things that don't just translate and immediately bump up to the next generation or whatever. Seems to be most of the time, or like they won't just come out on Steam eventually because it's like this is a huge headache. So
Nas
yeah,
isn't on here.
what movie soundtrack was he a part of?
I like how you're just like, what?
I was under that impression for so long. Now I'm just
You know
embarrassed.
who is on here though is Busta Rhymes, Coolio, LL Cool J, Method Man, and B Real for Hit 'Em High.
Oh, dude, sorry. You're right. I'm thinking of the MIB soundtrack. I'm pretty sure. I think
Okay, if
I
we're
think he
talking
has a
about
track on the MIB soundtrack.
soundtracks where like you only listen to a couple songs, MIB only had one song I listened to like
Exactly.
ever.
So it's like, oh, sweet, I got this whole thing. I don't want to listen to this. Yeah,
That's yeah.
Escobar 97.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Men in Black soundtrack. Sorry, another soundtrack album with a
I
cool
don't.
open.
I honestly don't remember any of these other songs on this track except for Men in Black.
All right. I mean, if they have the Denny Elfman like intro score part, I love that.
They
Like,
have it. They have the intro and the outro on the track
okay,
on the
okay.
soundtrack.
I love that. Like the credit sequence with the dragonfly. Like that's just some cool stuff right there. But yeah, in terms of actual songs with music videos and things, it's Will
The
Smith.
good guy is dressed in black. Remember that. Just in case we have a face-to-face and make contact,
Yep.
title held by me, MIB, because what you think you saw, you did not see.
Nope. And they flash the thing, and there's
Yeah,
sunglasses.
I remember the video so well.
It's pretty good. On the videotape, actually, after the credits, it was still on
Yep.
there. They gave it
Yep,
to you.
it
So
is.
that
Yep.
was fun.
I watched it over and over again.
It's like, no, I'll let the tape play out, man. There's
What was the
secrets.
alien's name again at the beginning?
Oh, like the dude they find in like the convoy,
Yeah, because they're like dancing
Mikey.
at the end. Mikey, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That was a
Just
good
bounce
movie.
with me.
3 was okay. Remember that one? We saw that.
We saw that together. We
We
did a
wrote a
digital
digital
digressions.
digressions. We
And
totally
we
did.
did oh yeah, there was a movie monks episode with
With
like
the art of
us
our
put
heads.
our I put our heads on their bodies. So dumb.
Pretty good.
Oh,
Uh, Metro Prime, dude. Metro Prime
yes.
3. I keep kind of like wandering around it. Um, I guess my only kind of my weird little thing yesterday while I was playing it was just kind of this realization of just like, wait, last year everyone was belly aching that women aren't the stars of big budget games. Like
Yeah.
Ellie in The Last of Us was being touted as like, yay, finally, this is starting to happen. And it's just like, Metroid, motherfucker, what are you talking about? Like this whole time, Nintendo has had this going on, and I don't know. I guess because there's not a lot of writing to her character, she doesn't say stuff.
Like
Is that
in
what
that
mitigates it? Like, it's
in
like
that
people
respect,
don't
like
say Gordon
Lara
Freeman
Croft as well has been around
also,
forever.
and it's like I guess she's fighting stuff and whatever, but it
Yeah.
doesn't seem. I don't know, like super sexualized or crude in any way. It's just you are basically Ellen Ripley or something in a cool, awesome suit on different planets and space stations going around taking care of stuff. It's, I don't know, kind of great.
Yeah, Beyond Good and Evil. Actually, feminists still tout that as one of the examples of they got like just a female character right because it's just a female character. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
but no, just like all the feminist frequency freakouts and whatever. Like I don't see, like do I guess it's like do people have some sort of weird counter argument prepared for Metroid where they're just like, yeah, well, it doesn't really count though because she doesn't actually say anything, or it's like Metroid Other M, she gets bossed around by that military guy, so screw that, and you're just like, well, okay, that game also was not the one people love, so I don't know.
Right.
That seems kind of a weird mood point, but I don't know. I was like, did this game just like fail or something? I was like, no, it sold like 1.3 million copies. Like critics loved it. It did. Like playing it again, it's like, wow, this is actually really slick in a lot of ways. Like I don't know, it's not cited much maybe, which is strange for like a high profile series. As like,
Hmm.
what are you complaining about? Here, we got a whole pile of these. They've been making them for 25 years. Like I don't know if you want to play a cool lady.
What about Jill Valentine?
She's fine. Yeah, I mean, once you get like that's the thing. Once you get to 5, I guess people can start being like, "Look at this cat suit they gave her," and whatever. And it's like, yeah, all right, I know.
As far
And
as
I
I'm
guess,
concerned, that's not my Jill. That has never been my Jill. They replaced
yeah,
her.
they
My
kind of
Jill
screwed her over.
died years ago
Or
in
like, I guess maybe
Nemesis.
people would be like, "Well, Samus has been in this Zero Suit Samus and all this stuff," and you're just like, not in like the core Prime games though. That is not a thing that happens.
My
Like
biggest problem with Zero Suit Samus is that every time they like do a model of
reiterate
her
on
or
that.
something or
Yeah,
draw her or whatever, they are really bad at like human proportions. Like her arms are always either too long or short compared to her leg. Like everything's just weird proportionally.
really
But
long arms. Yeah.
like Nintendo has never been good at proportions for like normal human beings, which is why they have Mario and
Yeah, they're kind of
like
exaggerated.
Waluigi and stuff. Yeah, exactly. So
Waluigi has pretty long limbs too, so maybe that's kind of the same universe. I don't know, but
mm.
Yeah, there's just some really neat stuff. Like the Skytown level, I guess was the thing I was playing and really just impressed by the visuals and whatever. And honestly, like part of it, I love that that game just makes you, I guess would be a bad way of saying it, but they let you kind of open the doors and mess with the gizmos like yourself. You do stuff to open things and change things and move things around, which just feels like tactile and makes the world seem more kind of like mechanical. Like everything seems bustling with activity. Like there's just weird machines everywhere. Like if you open a door, each have their own animation, whatever. Even just the old Metroid way of you have to shoot the door to open it. It's not just you walk up to it and something happens. Like you have to do something. Like you just seem involved in terms of gameplay a lot of the time. And yesterday I was kind of just feeling like this is almost what I was saying Zelda doesn't do, where it's just all dungeons all the time. Like Metroid is
Yeah.
all dungeons all the time. You are always in something, solving puzzles and moving things around and navigating this environment
Yeah.
in gameplay. Like there's
Yeah.
some cutscene stuff. Like yesterday, I finally ran into like a bit of a cutscene that was kind of annoying because it's basically just setting the stage for this combat scenario, and I died during that combat scenario. So then when I loaded up again, I had to watch the cutscene again and again because I
Yeah.
failed
Yeah.
again. So it's just like, okay, this one here is getting kind of annoying. So I'm not just going to get full points for avoiding all of that stuff. But yeah, like even like the combat stuff, honestly, I wasn't using one of the powers until I realized I was able to do that. You can do this like phase on overcharge thing, and you basically need to do that because it takes out stuff way faster. And at that point, you have a bunch of life tanks, so you can totally get away with doing it. I don't know. I kind of screwed up. But I guess I finished the second major boss, and I'm like percentage complete. I'm at like 30 something because it's a lot of it's
Okay.
based on collectibles. But
I remember being the final boss in that game is a bitch. To
oh yeah, there
apparently.
was one boss earlier that I was. It wasn't so much like hard to figure out the pattern. It was just a matter of execution and like
Yeah, and that's what
each.
apparently the problem with the end bosses. So
Oh, okay, or it's like I guess its form when it changes, you just scan it again and it'll kind of give you a clue as to what to do next. The boss I fought yesterday was easy. Like I finished it the first time I did it.
okay.
But that other one was just kind of I th- I think it was an issue of like I used the morph ball bombs, but it didn't seem to work, but it was in fact the solution. It just you need to get right up in there. That was my issue with the first one. So it was
Right up
kind
in the
of
business.
yeah, right under there. It's crazy, but I don't know. These environments look nice. Like that game, I can't believe it's 7 years old and on crappy decade-old hardware because it kind of is still impressive sometimes. Like I'm kind of really happy with how that's panning out. I'm glad I revisited it. I didn't just keep moving on, and it makes me extra regret not buying the Metro Prime Trilogy collection, which I might have to do at some point, even though it's like
Mm,
$100 or whatever, because it's one of those rare games now. Like limited runs, kind of like that
yeah.
Mario All Stars re-release that just got snapped up. Like they did
Oh, dude, I
20,
forgot all about that. You're right.
yeah, they did like some 20th, 25th anniversary thing, and it was just like, whatever, and it's just like immediately sucked up by everybody. And I was just like, this is just a port, you guys, and it's like you should have bought that, like, because it's gone now. And yeah, Metro Prime Trilogy I should have picked up, but it still exists. It's just asshole collectors have it now, and they're wanting to. Well, they're not collectors because if they were collectors, they'd keep it.
Yeah.
Merchants have it, and
Yeah.
they know that it's worth money, and that's the worst.
Yeah.
But supply and demand. Um, Metroid, Vib-Ribbon.
Yeah.
Uh
That's not.
man,
There's no like connecting point there really at all.
it's a piece of interactive entertainment.
That is literally the only thing.
It is also a video game. Yeah, I guess today, like October 8th, 2014,
Yep.
Vib-Ribbon was released on PSN, so for Vita
Yes.
and PS3.
Yep.
Uh it's like $6 normal price because I'm a Plus member. It had a bit of a discount, so it was like 470 something, and I was like, "Man, this is great. I would have paid $10 for this. I'm so happy." I've just been curious about this game for a while because I'm a big like I like weird rhythm games, and
That's what
this
this is. It's a weird rhythm game.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And man, I just like it's I really like its simple aesthetic. It's just line art and whatever. Like it's just
Hmm.
like here's some waveforms and here's this weird ass rabbit who loves music and he's a great character. Like he does this kind of singing the tutorial for you little video thing that I watched and that was great. Basically what you're doing is you're just it's kind of bit trip runner or something of just like there are
It's an
obstacles.
endless runner sort of thing. Yep.
Right, but if you hit an obstacle, you don't immediately get thrown back. You kind of lose lives and stuff. So it kind of reminded me
Yeah.
of Rez in terms of it's like
Yes.
if you do really well, you kind of graduate up a form. If you do bad, you de-evolve, I guess. But you
Yep.
can gain back that by pulling off combos and
You
whatever.
like turn into a frog or something if you fuck up a
Yeah, you
lot.
turn into like different animals. So you start as a
Yeah.
rabbit, you turn into a frog, then like a
Yep.
weird inchworm thing or something, and then you
Yep.
fail. There might be another form in there somewhere. Oh, and if you do really well, you kind of just become a ballerina bunny. Kind of, he's dancing. He's got wings. I don't know what he's doing, but the animations kind of change with each form, and that's kind of been a bit hard to get used to. Like nothing different is happening in terms of the timing of the music, but it's just kind of jarring to see a completely different move happen when you press the same button just because something has altered slightly. But there's basically four types of obstacle components, I guess, because they start combining them, and that's where I'm starting to screw up a lot. It's just like, no, you got to press L2 and X on this one, and this one is R2 and down. This one's just down. This one's X. This one's R, and it's just kind of going around obstacle,
Yeah.
obstacle, obstacle in time with this music to some extent and kind of the like it's almost just like a really elaborate interactive visualizer, but it has a cool feature where you put in a CD and it'll generate levels based on your own music, which I guess was a thing that like the PS1 one had. The Vita version can't do that, which
No.
obviously I guess, but that makes it kind of you
I
should
was
get
gonna
this for
ask you if
PS3.
this worked with the PS3.
Yeah, we popped
It
in
like,
a we
what
popped
did
in
you
a
pop
CD.
in?
I guess Brittany grabbed VNV Nation or something.
Mm.
So yeah, like the intro track to that album worked really well because it's nice and slow. The later tracks started throwing in weird combo obstacles that I'd never seen, and I was just like, "Oh, what's happening?" And then the rabbit
Yep.
just starts screwing up and squawking, and then I failed, and he cried. It was kind of
Did you ever
sad.
play a game called Monster Rancher?
No, I didn't. Does
Okay.
that have rhythm stuff in it?
That doesn't have rhythm stuff in it. That was like a Pokemon Arena battler type game.
Okay.
But the catch is the reason this is how it ties in is that the way you created your monsters is by putting in a CD and then it
What?
would read the tracks or whatever and it would create a monster based on that.
That's weird. Okay. It's like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
put in this Justice album. It's kind of made me regret, like, oh, I don't have some of my favorite albums on CD, and I wish I did so
Yeah.
I could play it.
You could burn
So,
CDs probably.
and that's the thing. Would it read that fine? It would know what's up. Like, hopefully.
Oh, the PS3? Yeah, probably not.
Oh, okay, because I'm like, wait, I actually totally did burn that Justice album onto a CD, but yeah.
The PlayStation 1 probably would. It would
Oh,
read it as a music CD,
all
but
right. So
it
I gotta
wouldn't.
buy the
The
original
PS3 probably
copy.
wouldn't.
That's the thing. I started looking up like a Vib-Ribbon, like just copies of it. I guess the Japanese import isn't that hard to get. But this when you boot it up, it says Sony Europe. So did it
Yeah.
ever come here?
No, it didn't come here. It went to Europe on PAL about a month or two after it was released in Japan.
And that's the only English version of it that came out.
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay.
I was it. I'm gonna look it up right now because I can't remember if it was that close. I
And
just
even though
want to
it's
get my dates right.
English, yeah, it says 2000 as the copyright on
Yeah,
this.
it came out a year roughly, nine
After,
months
okay.
after it came out in
So
Japan.
gotta get one of them PAL PlayStations, and damn, son, that's a bit of a headache. So this is probably the biggest platform people can get this game for,
This
really.
is the only platform that people realistically can, like
Yeah,
in our part of the world, unless you want to order stuff. Then,
sure.
like, if you or the thing is, if you are used to ordering stuff from other countries for video games, you've
hmm
already had this. So, like, whatever, probably.
Yeah, but this is. I was kind of excited hearing this. I didn't know this was the thing.
Yeah.
until it just kind of was like yesterday night. I saw it on Twitter. It was just like, dude, this is coming out. It's like, amazing. What a great surprise. So I don't know if it's cross-buy or whatever. I guess I could just play the 3 basic songs on the Vita, but I'll probably just play it on the actual system. It has a weird thing where it's like if you have a music CD in there, if you try to back out to the main menu, it'll be like, hey, you got to put in the Vib-Ribbon disc. And you're just like, oh, right, because in your head, I swapped out the disc and put in a music CD, and now if I want to play the Vib-Ribbon content, I need to put in the Vib-Ribbon disc. But it's digital.
That's kind of where you just, like, rub Vib-Ribbon's head. It's like, oh, you're so cute.
Yeah,
there's no disc here.
Think there's a disc. Ports, I don't know. But I just was tinkering with that. I haven't, like, jammed to my favorite albums or anything yet. But it's cool seeing this kind of like, wow, this happened in 2000. I was getting way into Audio Surf and like those kind of games like 8 years later. And this game was totally doing some of that rad stuff before. And really simple kind of look and everything, but I kind of like that. It's just like, I don't know, it's like 27 megs, but it's got a cohesive look, and it's just, hey, music. The star of the show is music, and you're interacting with it. So that's cool, right? I was like, yeah, that's fine. And the weird combo obstacles, I still have to figure that out. But I'm not seeing a lot of kind of, like with some of the rhythm games of old, the timing is so demanding on some of that stuff because there's like less lag on SD TVs. So it was designed with that in mind. Like Incredible Crisis is brutal if you're playing it on a HD TV.
Gem or Lammy and Parappa, same thing.
Okay, yeah. So this game, I don't know. It seems like once you just line up where you're supposed to input, it was pretty easy to keep up with that stuff. It was honestly just the mixing up the obstacles was the thing that was throwing me off, which that was probably the gameplay part of it that was reminding me of Bit Trip in terms of just like duck, slide, jump, like kick, like the kind of different stuff that game asks of you to do to
kick,
navigate
punch.
The music
it's
obstacles.
All in the mind.
Yeah.
Did you ever beat that game?
No, that game kicked my ass, dude. I'm trying to think. I got to... That's right. On easy, I got through the swap meet and all that stuff, but then they cut you off. So I'm still on the stupid driving level. I never finished. I never got past that. I still have it. It's on my
You didn't hear the Funky Flow song.
I didn't. I never got past it.
What the hell? What the hell was that song called?
So wait, are there Full Tilt like sequels to that game? Is there like Parappa 2?
Yes, there is.
Is that pretty good too? Is that
no idea? Never played it actually.
Oh, like I'd assume it's just like, hey, it's more songs. Like it's probably totally fine.
It's probably the exact same game in every way, except that it was released on the next system.
Was it? It wasn't.
It was
PS1
on the PlayStation
as well?
2. No.
What? Oh wow. Huh.
Yep.
Yeah. Dude, have you been playing that hot new 3DS game that everyone's freaking out about? Like the new kid in town?
Oh, Zelda 2? Yeah, it's been on my 3DS for a while now from the Virtual Console.
Oh, yeah, you downloaded it already. Cool, I was just wondering, did you play any of that, or?
I know you're talking about Smash, and actually I did.
Oh, okay.
I played the demo, technically. That game controls like shit on a 3DS, and it's a small screen, and I hate it.
Yeah, that's... Alright, I'll wait for the real one.
Yeah, only a month away. November.
Oh, they actually announced the date now?
They did.
Oh, thank God. It's actually coming here? Like, I thought it was a Europe date or something they said, but...
Oh, hold on. I don't know if it was a Europe date or not.
Maybe the only reason I'm saying that, maybe I saw a European person getting excited about their launch date, which would make sense, but there's probably also one for us, right?
Okay. Yeah, November 21st, North America.
Black Friday, man, get ready.
It's the date that they had said in whispers before, but they confirmed it. So,
awesome. All right. Yeah. I'm not going to pre-order that, but I will go purchase it at a store with money. And
I probably won't purchase it at all because I know either you or John or somebody whose house I could go to play it with, which is the fun way to play that game. They will purchase it, and I will play it with them all night.
Okay. Just our work schedules, man, but all right. Just have a late-night Smash party and then go build a flight the next day. That's what we'll do. It's like, we're up all night playing Smash.
You know, honestly, I've been thinking about it. I feel like we should make an effort to like just hang out or something
Okay, like
every now and then,
Wednesdays.
or like Tuesday nights or something. I don't know. A night when we're off early
Okay.
would be nice. Yeah, Wednesday, because then we both
Well, I mean,
work and
well,
then go home.
whatever. We could get further into like, hey, they're changing our schedule soon, and da ba da ba da. But yeah, okay, we'll
No,
save that.
you're completely right. Wednesday's better because then we're both at the same place. We leave at the same time. We could just go to one of our houses, hang out, and then call it a
Play
night after
some,
that.
yeah,
Because
be some
like,
Duck Hunt Dog right there.
because like whatever on work nights, since we start so late anyways, I'm up until 2 or 3 normally,
It's true.
and then so like, what's it would be a few hours, but like it would be something, I suppose.
And we could play SEGA Genesis games, play some Gunstar. Did Treasure have other stuff come out on there?
Oh, I am Mr. Toy. Just to address your question, why they say the controls are shit, the controls are normal in 3DS games. 3DS games, I feel, control like shit. That's why I hate playing the 3DS.
Well, I remember a lot of people were mad about Kid Icarus for control reasons, and
The
I
only,
don't know.
like,
I didn't
honestly,
play.
the only games I play on my 3DS are ones I can use the D-pad with. I hate
I mean,
that fucking
I
stick.
liked how 3D Land handled quite a bit, but
3D Land was okay. Like, I've never felt any of the
or
3D
like
Mario games handled great to me, though.
Link
So.
Between Worlds is totally adequate for that. It's just
Yep.
yeah,
It was
like,
basic enough.
hmm I mean, yeah, for the type of inputs it's demanding from the circle pad. Isn't there like a weird extender thing you can get that came with the, or like a dual, or I guess the dual circle pad thing wouldn't. Wasn't there a thing for Resident Evil? Like there's this weird add-on. You know, is this crazy? Am I saying crazy things? I don't
The
have
Circle
one,
Pad
but
Pro?
yeah, what's that?
It's a second stick that goes onto the side, so you have dual sticks.
Does this support that?
I don't honestly know, but I know
Okay.
like Snake Eater and stuff did, and people said it's still controlled kind of shitty.
Okay.
Though nothing will ever beat though. The worst controlling game that I've played on the DS was Metroid Hunters or whatever, Metroid Prime Hunters, because you had to like use the screen and stylus to move your.
Right, so you're kind of blocking the screen. I have that game, and I'm kind of curious about it. I think they introduced some characters and stuff that are actually factoring into Prime 3, maybe. Like, there's a whole host of other bounty hunters. But, yeah, I don't know. That seemed kind of like a wonky idea.
Yeah, see, even Mr. Toy saying the circle pad wasn't made for fighting games. So like, yeah, I just straight up, I'm gonna wait for the Wii U version of it. I'll play that the way I've played all the Smash games with, like maybe a pizza and some drinks and like friends and just
Dude,
like yelling at each other. Like it'll be a good time, but it won't be on this little handheld thing that I carry around.
Yeah, that is just not where I want to play that kind of thing, so.
Fuck.
All right.
No.
I think
In
that's
fact, I'm gonna say that goes in the barrel.
the Smash Brothers demo. Okay.
Sure. Something had to go in the barrel. I pulled the sound clip for Christ's sakes.
Yeah, and I don't know. I liked a lot of the movies I watched. I'm trying to think if there's anything. Oh, actually, another thing that definitely won't go in the barrel. We
Okay.
watched the first episode of Twin Peaks, kind of in honor of the fact that they announced another season for that show, and I was
know.
so happy.
It's
Like, it
so
was just-
weird, though, right? Like, that's the weirdest thing to come
It's
out of.
weird, but I
Yeah.
loved reading why it happened because I guess like an executive at Showtime used to work at ABC and was one of the people who was championing that show 25 years ago. And now he's in a
Weird.
role where he can be like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do another season. I'm in charge now. And it's just like, yeah. So David Lynch and Mark Frost are teaming up, and they haven't announced much else in terms of details. Like, is Kyle MacLachlan coming back? Like, who's going to be in it again? But it picks up 25 years later. It's not a reboot. It is more canon for that show. And where they left that show is insane. So, I don't know. I got that Blu-ray set. We watched the first episode, and probably keep going on that. Those first 6 episodes specifically are fantastic.
I have to rewatch that because I've only ever watched it when I was a kid at a friend's house, so it was like the worst thing because we were just hanging out while watching it.
Okay, okay.
I just, yeah,
I'd say it's worth paying attention to. It's
yeah,
like honestly,
exactly.
it is cited so much as being kind of like just this big tide shift in terms of TV writing. Like people cite that show, like David Chase of The Sopranos and like the Lost guys and all that kind of go like, "Oh yeah, dude, yeah, Twin Peaks. Like that was really cool." Episode writing, like episodic television writing and stuff. Kind of I don't maybe giving it too much credit, but no, I'm not going to back off of that. It changed television and it's awesome.
It
So,
it honestly
yeah.
did.
Like looking at
Yeah.
other shows from that time period, like just like LA Law and all this is just like, okay, like this was different. This I don't know. It has faults all over the place though too. Season 2 is so dumb, but there's still little pearls of good stuff in there. And yeah, I was pretty happy to see that first one.
Sure, I agree.
And yeah, the follow up stuff. Yeah, I want to watch it all again and see where connections could possibly be made later. But yeah. Twin Peaks Showtime, 9 episodes, 2016. Still got a huge wait before it actually happens, but I'm down with that. So that's not going in the barrel. That news is going on the mantle, or in my scrapbook or something, whatever the opposite.
I was trying to think of like what to pull for the opposite of going in the barrel, and I was thinking like a woohoo sound or something.
Or just like trumpets and fanfare or something. Just like, yeah.
But the funny thing is, the only copyright free like woohoo sound that wasn't Homer Simpson that I found was like some dude that did it for like a copy or a royalty free site. And the way he says it just sounds so like weird. He's just like, whoa, or something. So it sounds almost sarcastic. So it's like that doesn't
Sarcastic
work
British guy being excited just does not convey.
I guess so.
Woo! I'm happy about it. It's good news. I'm trying to think if there's any other real media stuff. I started reading Jurassic Park, and I like what I'm reading so far in general.
That book starts off so fucking weird compared to the movie.
It's very different.
It starts off
but,
right away.
Well, there's parts of it that are basically in Lost World. Like, specifically one incident with the little dinosaur attacking that girl. It's just like, that is all kind of this bad event that happens in the first book that basically prompts Hammond to have experts come and make sure the island is okay. So it's kind of this key plot point that is moved to the second movie, which is weird. And I mean, there's a whole lot of kind of like, what is InGen working on? Like, what is this secret? And it's like page 70 or something. Someone's just like, dinosaurs. They're cloning dinosaurs. You're just like, what? Like, I know there's a thing on the front of the book, but yeah, like they kind of, it's like a corporate espionage kind of mysteries and subterfuge and whatever.
It's actually really good.
It's really cool.
Like that book.
I'm actually liking, like, the character dynamics and stuff are really different. Like, Alan Grant doesn't have any of those hangups about kids and stuff that they gave him in the movie. Like, he's actually just totally stoked that there's a kid who's excited about dinosaurs. Like, it's like, this is totally not the same relationship that was happening in that movie. It's just like, oh, go look after these kids. It's just like, we need an arc for this character, so we're going to put that here. There's, like, a science character named Henry Wu, who's, like, the head, like, geneticist dude. And, like, he seems to be factoring in.
He's the dude in the movie that is, with the egg that's showing them.
Yeah, but like he gets kind of his own moments of like introspection and just being like, John Hammond's screwing up, man. Like this is going bad. Like he has ideas for making the dinosaurs safer, and he's kind of like, no one has ever seen dinosaurs, so why don't we just change them to make them slower and less dangerous? Like who cares?
Yeah.
We're genetically changing everything anyway. And he's just like, no, it's got to be authentic, dude. I was like, okay, all right. Things are about to go really terrible. So yeah, it's fun to read this like movie I've seen so many times, like where it corresponds and where it's totally different. Like Ian Malcolm's pretty much the same, like for the most part. A lot of his dialogue is kind of ringing the same way, but I don't know. There's just little things here and there. I don't know if I brought this up already, but like books that use the word "said" too many times has been driving me crazy. Like where it's like there will be a conversation between two characters and they will just put Grant said, Ellie said, like after each sentence, and you're just like, no, it's really clear who is talking to who. Like you don't need to kind of put a name there just to remind me, you know? Like it's a
Yeah.
quirk I've noticed. Honestly, I first got really upset about with this book, The Martian, which is kind of this hot sci-fi book right now that's being made into a movie with Matt Damon.
Wait, did you read it because there was like the book club thing that Tested did?
No, I'd heard about
Okay.
it actually from Rich Gallup on the Dad Strength podcast. They were talking about
Okay.
it a
So
while
that's
ago.
probably where Tess had heard about it then too.
Possibly, yeah, it's kind of the
Honestly.
same network of dudes.
Yeah.
And like as soon as that book introduces more than one character, they start doing this where they just start having like after every line of dialogue, they make it clear who was just saying that. And I guess I've kind of like been so bothered by it. I was like, do other people like have this issue? Like, is this just like a like what is
Yes.
going on? And some people do, but other people are just like, no, it's like invisible. Like I just glaze
No.
right over it.
No,
They
it
just
really bothers
go
me.
right past
And
it.
there's a reason. It's because when I was going through English class, I wanted to be a writer growing up.
Hmm.
I would get in. There was one teacher that actually marked me down anytime I used that word, and they were just like, "There's so many other more expressive words you could use, but the only time you should ever use said is when somebody is saying it in a dialogue in response to like something else someone else said."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
their example was like, if like you and I were talking, and then I go talk to John, I'm like, "Yeah, that's exactly what Nathan said." Like that is okay, but he's like, if you're gonna be writing a story, use stuff like exclaimed or gasped or like other things that describe it with more tone if you need to. Otherwise,
yeah.
don't use anything at all.
Well, so you see, some people I guess have the opposite issue where if you use a more colorful verb like that, they get distracted by that. So it's just
Hmm.
like, he exclaimed or whatever, or like she gushed, and it's just like, it's a little too color. Like what? Like it just stops
Yeah.
someone cold that way. So it's just kind of, I don't know. There doesn't seem to be a happy balance. I honestly just prefer it if it's like reads more like a script or something, where it's just
Yeah.
back forth, and it's just like there are only two people in the scene. I get it. Every now and then I'll lose my place and I have to kind of find it again. But I find it so much less distracting than just kind of punching me in the head every time, which is like Alan Grant said that. Just in case you weren't paying attention, John Hammond said that. And you're just like, I know. So this book occasionally gets there. Jurassic Park is occasionally doing that. It's kind of like, but it's still really expressive and like there's a lot of good
It's
pseudoscience
really good.
stuff. Yeah,
Hmm.
so I'm still totally overall enjoying it quite a bit. That Martian book though, that one kind of got too much for me. Like it's annoying because it starts with one character. It's almost like a Castaway type situation where a dude is like alone on Mars. So it's just kind of him journaling his progress. It's almost like reminding me of Moon or something, where it's just one guy is alone and trying to occupy himself. But then later they start kind of further and further detailing like the rescue operation on Earth, and there's like a bunch of characters, and that's where I was like, oh, okay, I'm done. Like I can't read this. Like if this is gonna keep doing this like literally every page, like if I had to add it up every time, it was like 2 dozen times they will use said or they will use a different verb, but even so, it's like wasn't adding anything, and it seemed kind of just patronizing. I'm just like, no, I get that there's two people talking. Like, please stop doing that. I was like,
Yeah.
I was reading it at work. I was almost like, I'm just gonna take this like whiteout tape and just fix your book here, and then mail it to you and be like, re-release this like this for the paperback. Jesus Christ! Like it's just like,
Yeah.
ah,
There's there's a lot of weird quirks with different eras and like years of writing
yeah,
that I've noticed where the worst one for me was excuse me, Dalton Trumbo. Was that his Johnny Got His Gun?
okay.
Was that
I'm
him?
not I'm not familiar, but let me look this up.
Okay. He uh,
Dalton
so he
Trumbo.
Trumbo.
Okay.
Um the way he wrote his book was back in like the 30s or something really early,
Mm-hmm.
and their idea of writing and structure was non-existent, so paragraphs were there weren't paragraphs, there were breaks, and there
Okay.
were run-on sentences like telegraphs, sort of thing. So the writing
Oh
is
yeah, really
extraordinarily
long
hard to read.
sentences was definitely
Hmm.
a thing for a while, but
Yeah.
it's not loading up whether or not that's who you're. But okay, we'll go with
Oh,
that.
I can
Dalton
quickly
Trumbo.
look at Dalton. I
But
can quickly look it up
yeah,
here.
just weird little like it was kind of just a pet peeve I didn't know I had with writing stuff. Of just like I did not know this was a thing. Even typos, like I can deal with that to some extent. Like I noticed them, but like oh, there's that one How Nintendo Conquered America book that just gets so crazy. Uh, in terms of typo like volume at some point, but really it's word use stuff like this where it's just like grading because it's just part of the reading experience that is
Yeah,
pulling me out of it. I think that's the
it
thing. It
was
pulls you
Dalton
out of the
Trumbo.
narrative, right? It was called what?
It was Dalton Trumbo in
Okay.
1938.
So his writing structure was kind of distracting. Like it was taking
It
away from the
well, it's
story.
like it's how they were learning typing and printmaking and stuff, printing back then, right? Like it was still very basic. There wasn't English like literary like
School.
you
It's
need
just like
to
yeah, everyone goes through phonics. Like we all know how to do this. It's just no.
yeah, like what's an
Yeah.
indent or something, yeah.
Right. Oh, I even remember like
Oh, no, it wasn't I'm sorry, I'll stop. I
okay,
remember what it was. It's the lack of commas and other like
punctuation.
punctuation of that sort other than periods.
There's just
It
periods, so you get a lot of
and
short sentences.
apostrophes.
Okay.
Yeah. So either a lot of short sentences or really long ones with and used a lot.
Yep. That's some
So,
run-ons right there. So
yeah.
yeah, it was a thing that it can totally distract me to the point where I am no longer immersed in the narrative, and that happens with that one book. But Crichton, I'm I'm on the edge, but
Mhm.
it's like there's some really like my familiarity with the film adaptation stuff is definitely being like I am so curious about this too. Like that's definitely helping me just being like, no, I really want to read this. So that might help as well. But I'm still pretty keen on it for the most part. So that's books and stuff. I think that's almost that's for sure all I've been doing.
I
So
like I like in the book that InGen feels more like an Umbrella Corp or something, where they feel way more sinister than in the movie for whatever reason. Maybe it's just the way that they seem shady until like you learn what they're doing.
yeah, I mean, they definitely discuss the business side of what's going on more explicitly, like what Nedry is doing and like the rival
Yeah.
company that's trying to get in on that.
Hmm.
The setting the stage is basically like it's it's almost kind of like the way the sixth day or something, where it's like an actual kind of timeline of genetic research and stuff, and then it starts blending with like the fictitious timeline that he is now going off on. So it's like in this year InGen started doing this. And it's like, oh, okay, this is now the fiction of the book. But it has this kind of science jump off point of just
Yeah.
like cloning and all this stuff and then just kind of which like yeah, the whole Amber stuff and all that from the is in the movie. I actually like that's the thing. I really liked how they incorporated some of the exact same expository dialogue in the movie with that video, like the cartoon, because it's just like
Yeah.
this would totally be like a stupid theme park kind of way of telling these people this every day instead
Yeah.
of just having a scientist read like tell you in conversation. So it's like some of the exact same sentences about watching like screens like this for 2 years to see an entire DNA strand is just put in animation in the movie. That's just like, good job, movie. You did some cool stuff with that too. But and
There's some
Gennaro, I guess
crazy
the
good
lawyer.
Jurassic Park games too, by the way.
I mean, I genuinely like the Lost World light gun game at arcades. It's
Okay.
actually really fun. But
I can't remember if it was the Genesis game. One of them was a top-down adventure type game that would go into first-person mode when you went into
yeah,
buildings.
the SNES had that too. But it's I think it's a game that is basically enhanced by the Super Nintendo mouse. and that's a peripheral I've actually been looking
Uh,
into lately because apparently Mario Paint is everywhere, but
it
SNES
is.
mice
In
aren't.
fact, hold on a second.
I got one right here.
Right here.
Yeah, it's like $5, and I was just like, I want to play
Yeah.
that, but I don't have the peripheral, so that's kind of a thing I've been thinking about. But some stores will totally grill you on that. Like I checked eBay and like it's like 20 to $25 for an SNES mouse, but
Yeah.
it's like there was this bundle at the flea market. It's like $100, yeah. It's like, come on. Like I actually know that this is going
I've
too
s-
far.
I've seen an SNES mouse at like a pawn shop for $10 before.
Okay,
So
so they're out there.
they're the thing is it didn't come with the pad, like that
Yeah.
like plastic
That plastic
part.
pad. This did have the plastic pad, so maybe that's why they're like premium on that. But
Maybe. I'm not
I don't
sure.
know. Weird
So
art.
that's it for you for media?
I'm gonna say yeah. Nothing else is really standing out. I mean, I finished an episode of Mad Men, and we watched. We we kind of got cut off mid watching Trigun, which is this kind of cool anime with like a Western kind of feel, but
Yeah,
in
I've always heard
space.
that was really good.
Yeah, it was. I was definitely warming up to it quite a bit, but it was one of those like Netflix will stop having this October 1st, and I was just like, oh no, we gotta watch it, we gotta watch it, and then we like, oh, we didn't get to finish
You
it.
missed out.
So I bought it today, so it's on its
Oh,
way. There's these cool releases. I got Panty and Stocking finally actually too. Like the anime classics collections, which it like the Panty and Stocking, it's like the full series for $30 on Blu-ray. And I was like, this
what?
is for anime, this is insane. Like, this is a great deal. So I picked that up. I also bought Ghost in the Shell, the movie. Um,
Yeah.
like it was weird because they just re-released Ghost in the Shell 25th anniversary edition or 20th anniversary edition 20th, but it was like, oh, there's no features on this at all. Oh, 2.0 is like the re-release version they did like 6 years ago. It has a bunch of special features, and it also has the original movie as a special feature, like the
Hmm.
uncut one. So I was just like, I'll just get that one. Like it's not special and it doesn't have the slip sleeve, but I'm gonna buy that one. So yeah, anime. I bought some anime.
Okay.
And Trigun, it was pretty cool. It would seem pretty good. He's like a gunslinger. Is really good, but he doesn't want to hurt people. Like he doesn't want to shoot them, but he could.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I think like I guess I'm pretty early in the series. I guess it's like he's an alien or something. Like he can't like he seems to be extremely lucky. He does not get shot. Like people keep missing and all this stuff.
Okay.
Whatever planet they're on has like two suns and like it's kind of reminding me of Tatooine or something. There's basically a giant land crawl like sand crawler thing in one episode. I don't know. It's like action western like pop like steampunk kind of stuff, but gunplay and I don't know. It's
I
neat.
feel like that type of asshole that everybody hates when I say that one of my favorite animes of all time is Afro Samurai still.
Oh yeah.
So, like, whatever. I don't care. It had some cool fights and cool
That
things
teddy
going
bear
on.
guy? Wasn't there like a teddy bear dude?
Yep, there
Yeah.
was.
Was that game
But
okay?
no, it wasn't.
Oh.
Next time
Okay.
you're over, you can play it if you want. I own it.
Didn't it kind of have like the Metal Gear Rising slicing mechanic like before?
Not good, though.
Not good though. Okay. That's the
Yeah,
difference.
yeah. I don't know. Oh, okay. So I'm going to say this is very specific to people I follow on Twitter and that are part of, like, our community and stuff like that. So, Wayward has been watching Breaking Bad like through all the seasons, and he does a few episodes every day it seems, and he live tweets it at the end of each episode. But like the way he does it, like I'll look one up here quickly so I can give you an example. He says the episode name or the episode number and season sort of thing, and then like a brief thought on that episode, which is a great way to do it because live tweeting a full episode like every 2 minutes is annoying.
Yeah.
So, but he does like, for example, episode 511 wasn't expecting Walt to go that far. Wasn't expecting a certain someone to have a certain revelation. 5 episodes left, so it's just like a quick summary without any spoilers about like what he thought. So this whole time I'm like, I have to see what happens when he gets to 514. Like I'm just dying inside, waiting, and every day he's just like 512 or something. It's like, watch more episodes, and I start getting upset. So tonight
Okay.
he watched it, and he did the. This is I think the first time he tweeted like in the episode because there's two tweets on it, and the first one is currently watching 14th episode. I'm gonna be sick, so I'm just
Okay.
like, okay, I know which part you're at exactly, pretty much, probably. And
Okay.
then his thing after that is episode 514, sickened by what happened. Blood has been shed. Suffering's just begun with 2 episodes yet to go.
Oh, that's
So
that episode.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
so
All right. Because like without the spoilers, I'm just like big revelation or something. It's like what happened in that? All right. But yeah, okay. Man, remember when
Ozymandias
we
or whatever.
Ozymandias?
Well,
Yeah, the Ryan Johnson episode.
that's
Yeah.
that's what we'll just say for
Yeah.
anybody that doesn't remember 514.
Last I checked, that had still a perfect 10.0 on IMDb. Like everyone who sees it loves it. So yeah,
That
it's a strong
episode
one.
or that show?
That episode
Okay,
specifically. Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up right now. Maybe Wayward broke the scales. Is like, oh, 9.98. Come on, man. What are you doing to the perfect score?
Yeah, I'm gonna lower this a bit, 9.9 or something. It could have slipped a little bit. This was a while ago, but a lot of people rate that show.
Yeah, because people are still catching up, and like it's only 1 full year old right now. It's still a perfect 10 from 55,421 users.
Right? That's so crazy. Like it was good.
It's a great
Jeez.
episode.
Gee
That
whiz.
that is the episode that when Aaron watched like the thing that happens in that episode, the big thing, she
Mm-hmm.
started crying and said, "Fuck this, I'm not watching anymore," and left. Just
That's
like,
too intense.
and then she came back and watched the last 2 episodes with me. But you you can try next time you see her in person. Just be like, "So how do you like Breaking Bad?" She'll just be like, "I fucking hate that show." Like she so angry
Mhm.
about that.
Okay. That that Walt that Walter White dude. The guy
Yeah.
from Godzilla was in it. Anyway, Bryan Cranston.
Yeah. Are you ready for voicemails? We have
I'm
a
I'm
bunch actually.
absolutely ready for some questions. Let's do it.
Okay. Actually, let's start with a Twitter one because somebody threw one in as we were doing the show. Okay, Meowth900 says, question for later on the show. What made you decide to get back into doing live podcast shows? Honestly, it was easy enough to just hit a button while we do this. There was nothing really crazy or sinister about it. It provides a good backup for
Mm-hmm.
me. So, like, if the audio goes really bad, I can rip it from the video.
Well,
But
I
other
kind of
than
like
that,
the audio quality stuff with Audacity, but
Mhm.
I don't know. That was kind of and just like at the time, I felt like there was a pressure or something. Maybe like I was just kind of like I like the zero pressure environment of offline recording because you can just edit or pause and go get something. You know,
yeah,
like if I want a cup of water, I'd have to stop the show. It's crazy. You can't do that when it's a live show.
it's
Just like there's
crazy.
dead air. There's just an empty room. What?
But then at
So
the same
yeah,
time that you're saying this, we kind of just want to get this like all done because we both work the next day. So it's
yeah,
like stopping the show for 15 minutes means we have to do 15 minutes more to catch up on something. So we usually just keep going, and that's why it's usually just not easier, but fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, the girl's drink tattoo was not in the correct place on the shelf, so I had to fix it. So
Like chronologically for the book or by
for the
size.
yeah, chronologically for the book, like girl who played with fire was in front of it. It's like what? How did
What
that
the
happen?
fuck?
I know.
Somebody's gonna get a stern talking to tomorrow.
No, dude,
Glad it ain't
I
me.
I sternly unpacked a bunch of boxes. Like I quickly unpacked a bunch of boxes and haven't really sorted all that out. So these shelves are kind of a mess right now. Just sitting here looking at it. Anyway, exciting stuff. Bonus question answer right there.
There
Bookshelves.
you go. Bookshelves. Okay. Let's start off with this pile of voicemails now that people know we're back and alive.
Hey Paul, hey Nate. I had a dream a couple nights ago that I was a Shigaru Magara, which is a badass elder dragon from Monster Hunter, and I was
Okay.
fucking up some Gore Magala. And then I came upon a deformed Gore Magala that was also kind of insect-like, and I fucked him up too, but he was more like a boss. This dream was basically a video game because when I was flying and shooting my fireballs, it was basically an on-rails shooter a lot like Star Fox. I'm not sure if Shigaru Magara shoots fireballs or not. It's been a while since I watched someone hunt Shigaru Magara. Also, the fact that I was killing Gore Magala was kind of inaccurate since Gore Magala is simply a juvenile Shigaru Magara. They aren't cannibals like Deviljho or highly competitive for a mate like Diablo, so I doubt they're going to go around killing each other. They're loners, really. So my question is, do you ever have video game related dreams? If so, what are they like? It's been forever since I got to say this, but so I'll see you at the stream.
Okay. Yes, I have had actually many, and I will regale them to you as soon as Nathan tells me about maybe one of his.
Oh man. Uh I've had some incredibly boring like related to video games dreams. Like there's
Okay.
one I specifically remember which was like it was like I rented The Little Mermaid on Nintendo.
Oh, by the way, anybody that hasn't played that, it's actually really good. Go ahead and play that.
Like and so I was like, "Oh man, I'm playing this game in my dream." I wake up and go, "Oh, I'm going to go play that game I rented." Oh, like I didn't actually have it. So it was just like in the dream, I was just playing
Yeah.
a game on my TV. It wasn't like I was in the game world throwing fireballs or anything. I've had sort of weird, mashed uppy, messed up game related versions of things. Like it's just like I'm Mario, but there's a dragon. It's like that doesn't happen in any of the games. Like that is not a thing. But
Mm-mm.
weirdly, a lot of like my media related dreams are just like me kind of casually running into somebody from like, post Sopranos, I had Sopranos dreams. Like James Gandolfini was in a dream. He was eating a sandwich. Like it's just like boring stuff.
Okay.
So it's just like, yeah, I haven't had just video game character stuff in a while. There might be a certain game logic to some of it sometimes,
Yep.
but it's usually pretty banal actually.
I
Uh,
have those all the time. Like
yeah.
the ones where it's like you wake up, you're like,
Oh
fucking A, I'm gonna
wait,
go play that. Oh wait, I returned that at the store
I
yesterday or
had I
something.
had a Burnout Paradise dream once, but it
Okay.
was just kind of like walking with a friend of mine and then noticing a car from Burnout Paradise was parked under this bridge, and I was just like,
Okay.
"Oh, weird, we should drive that or something." It's just like this nonsense thing, but it was specifically a hot rod or something from that game. So, and the city was all crazy, like bright and vibrant and crazy, like Burnout, like Paradise City, but we were just there in it. Like it wasn't like, yeah, high speed racing. It was just like, yeah, I'm gonna go get a burrito. Like, oh, there's this crazy ass car. All right, like it was just. I kind of love the way dreams normatize insanity and just make it seem totally whatever when you're in it, unless you're having a
Yeah.
nightmare or something. In which case, I'm trying to think of any gaming related things have turned into nightmares. I don't think so. Bad sleep paralysis will get you though at any time.
Oh
Jesus, it's
fuck,
the worst.
yes.
Like it doesn't even have
Yeah.
to be anything too ominous happening. It's just like I can't move. What's going on? Why am I hearing water? And it's just like the person upstairs like is having a shower, and you are sort of waking up but not fast enough, and it's the worst. But anyway, dream stuff. What is your video game related dream?
Okay. I'll regale two of mine and then one of a friend of mine that I found hilarious. So we'll go with okay, so these are all games that I was playing like fervently at the time. So
Mm-hmm.
StarCraft had just come out. I was
Okay.
playing it basically every day after school until I had to go to bed. And there were sometimes I would even like call in sick and just play StarCraft all day. Um, I had a dream that it was just kind of like a normal day and I was walking home from the bus, like through this field that was behind my house. But all of a sudden there was what the fuck were they called now? Oh my god, I'm sorry. I have to look this up.
Okay.
Uh, from StarCraft. I can't remember the name of the unit now, and
Is it a Zerg thing or what is it? Sorry.
it's a Zerg thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
The lurkers from the expansion.
No, no, it was oh fuck. I can't remember what it was. It was like these weird pods or something that would like shoot spikes out of the ground at you, but like one
Oh,
spike. It was there was a
like if you have a
game.
bunch of them buried. Oh no, that is lurkers I'm thinking of. So
Yeah,
never
you're thinking
mind.
of lurkers. There
Yeah,
was
okay.
a game mode called Sunken Defense.
Mm-hmm.
So like they were sunken something, and anyways, I dreamt that there was like one of them in the field. So I just was like, oh shit. So I started running to my house, and there was all these like creepy little creatures crawling out of it and like coming to get me. So I run into my house, run downstairs into my room, slam the door, and luckily I had a battle cruiser, a Terran battle cruiser, waiting right by my door as my like guard. So
Okay.
laid in bed and watched as he shot all these little zerglings that were coming after me. And it felt so fucking real that when I woke up, I looked around for the battle cruiser. Like I was, it was
Yeah.
so
Oh
weird.
man, that sensation of like that's real, right? That's awesome. In my case though,
Yeah.
it's like that NES card is in my house, right? No, it is not. Oh.
Like I'm glad it's not real because god damn it,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
would have, yeah, that it was kind of a terrifying thing. I'm still looking to see if I can find the name of that unit. Anyways, okay, so the next one, Sunken Colony. That's probably it. That sounds about right. Um,
Okay.
the second dream wasn't really one specific dream, but there was a while there where I was in a end game rating guild, like a top tier rating guild for WoW,
Mm-hmm.
and that consumed so much of my life that it was like there were days where I wasn't even going to sleep. I would raid and then get stuff ready for after the raid for the next one, and then go to work and then come home and do more. Like it was really bad. It actually ate up a lot of my life, and there was a lot of times where I would like have dreams of being in a raid, like the end game content sort of thing, and like
Uh-huh.
how we could beat the next boss and stuff. And I was having like raid chat like dr- things in my dream that I would regale to Erin while she was not sleeping, but she would be like waking up in the middle of the night, and I would just say some weird shit that she didn't understand because it was all like jargon from raiding in WoW.
Uh-huh.
That was really weird, and it made me feel awkward. I've always said weird shit in my sleep though. Like I remember one time specifically that I felt really dumb about. I guess I was having a dream about working at a newspaper company or something. So
Uh-huh.
like I was just like, did you take the newspapers? Did you deliver the papers? And she was just like, what are you talking about? And then I just like realized that was like my moment of clarity after I had like was out of the middle dream awake state. That was like,
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. Just pretend to go back to sleep. Like, so
Okay.
I did that and I felt really, really weird about it. The one my friend had is that I think I've probably said this before, but Metal Gear Solid 2 had just come out and we had played it on all the difficulties. We were working on the extreme difficulty, going for big boss rank or whatever the top rank was for that game. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
There's one, now the extreme difficulty, you don't have a radar, and if you get spotted right away, you're done. Like it's game over and you have to start again, sort of thing. Not start again, but like from a save
Load a
or whatever,
checkpoint
or
or
from like a
yeah.
checkpoint.
Yeah.
So it was an instant game over. So there was one part in one of the like rigs or whatever, the tankers,
Mm-hmm.
that he couldn't get past without getting spotted. So he called me up one morning at like 11 o'clock in the morning. He's just like, come over right now. I had a dream. I'll explain more when you're here. So I run over because he was only about a 5 minute walk from me. So I run to his house, just like, what happened? He's like, I know how to beat it. I had a dream. And he was already playing up to that part that he had the dream about. He
Yeah.
did exactly. So what he did in the dream was he pretended to be a box on the conveyor belt when they walked around a certain way and then moved on that he
Yeah.
hadn't tried before, and it worked. So that was just great where he's just like playing
It's
it
like,
so fervently to get past this one part the day before that he had a dream about how to beat it and it worked.
that's amazing. It's just like my
Yeah.
subconscious solved this problem for me, and I was able to make it pan out. That's
And
it'd
in
be
like that case,
freaky in a weird way.
in that case it makes sense though because it's like when you're not staring right at it, your brain is able to process, oh yeah, you have a box costume, there's boxes around, pretend to be one, sort of thing, and you'll be fine. But it was so crazy, and I think the funniest part to me anyways was the fact that he called me in the morning and he's just like, come over, I had a dream. It's like,
You gotta
just
come
like-
over. Oh,
just like,
why?
yeah, all right. Yeah, I think we probably spent too long on this, so
Next query.
next query, here we go.
Hey Paul, hey Nate. So I have a massive mind-blowing conspiracy theory for you guys. I think that the Dynasty Warriors people's target audience is a bunch of me's. Like they're all clones of me. Every
Oh.
Dynasty Warriors spin-off has had something that I really, really like in it. Soon there's going to be a Dragon Quest Dynasty Warriors. I love Dragon Quest. It's definitely within my top three favorite JRPG series. They've made a Zelda Dynasty Warriors, 2 One Piece Dynasty Warriors, soon 3 and 4 Gundam Dynasty Warriors. You all know my thoughts on Gundam, and One Piece is probably my favorite manga. I think if they come out with another Dynasty Warriors game that has something I love, we shall know for sure. My thoughts on Dynasty Warriors games is Dynasty Warriors doesn't really interest me, but if you slap something I love all over it, then sign me the fuck up. I'm all up in that shit.
Yeah.
My question is, what franchise could Dynasty Warriors plaster all over their game to get you to buy it? Also, if you don't like
Mega
Dynasty
Man.
Warriors, like I imagine Paul is gonna say, nothing, because I don't like Dynasty Warriors.
Fuck
Just
you.
fucking humor me. Suddenly I want a Dynasty Warriors Mario. Maybe a Dynasty Warriors Mega Man.
Oh,
With all those robot masters, I imagine it could be really cool.
yeah.
Anyway, I'll see you at the stream.
The first thing I thought was Mega Man because I played Mega Man in the Smash demo, so he's fresh in my mind. And one of his attacks or abilities in that demo is that he does like his top spin. So I was just thinking a Dynasty Warriors game where there's like 1,000 things on you and you're Mega Man. You're just like top spin and everyone just flies across the screen.
Yeah,
so
and
good.
you like Dynasty Warriors, so I don't know. That's
Like,
misinformed.
for the most part, I don't think they're amazing, but I'm with him completely on it. They're the type of series that's like, if you give me fan service for something I like, I'm buying your game. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
That's why
So,
Hyrule
I mean-
Warriors.
Yeah, I'm curious about Hyrule Warriors. I'll probably pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have like fundamental issues with killing a bunch of dudes. It's just when I played demos and stuff of the PS2, just generic vanilla Dynasty Warriors games, I was just kind of like, I don't really care about like medieval Chinese warfare stuff, and this might be a real campaign that happened or something. I really don't care. Like I just like it didn't have
Yeah.
interesting stuff going on that front, so. That's why I wasn't into it. It wasn't. I don't like how simplistic these combos are or anything. Or like, I was kind of curious maybe about Drakengard, that Square game, that was basically a Dynasty Warriors game, but you also have a dragon. So you're like summoning in a big dragon and like burning a bunch of dudes and then hopping off and fighting like oceans of guys. There was like 2 of those. They were PS2 era games. I had a lot of fun with that demo. It was on one of those like PlayStation Magazine discs or whatever. But yeah, I didn't really get too into that. I had no idea there was a One Piece one until that.
Yeah.
So I looked it
know
up and there totally is Pirate Warriors. So okay.
I guess
I
it
don't
makes
know.
sense.
Like Zelda's a good pull for stuff. I'm like, this is like the first time I've been like, I might just buy a new Dynasty Warriors game. Like I haven't
Yeah.
done that ever. But other stuff.
Resident
It's just-
Evil, because if you put Resident Evil in the title, I will probably purchase it at least twice.
I mean, I was thinking kind of for that level kind of gameplay with just a bunch of stuff like Dead Rising was kind of almost like that sometimes. Of just like there are hordes of things and you are
Yeah.
using super attacks to kill a bunch of them. And I
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, I don't know if there's like a license of thing in general that's like, man, I really like this thing, but there hasn't been a good video game of it. They should just throw it in here and it'll totally make sense. Like if there's like an anime or something, or like a like yeah, like even it's like, oh, panty and stocking and you're fighting. Like it's just like, I don't know. Like there's sword fighting and you could put guns in it and whatever, but it wouldn't translate 100% right. Like I'm trying to think of it, like Kill Bill or something. Like what has like a bunch
That
of
would be
dudes?
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, like Fist of the North Star was one they did, but I'm just like, what would be a license that actually caters to fighting a whole bunch of people as one person and against all odds, killing all of them? Like yeah, Kill Bill or something. But I don't know. There was never a game. Like the Tarantino stuff doesn't seem to turn to games, even though it's well, Reservoir Dogs was a game. Does anyone? How did that turn out? Do you
I
know?
have no idea. No clue.
Yeah,
Probably not good.
probably not good, but it's still such an odd thing that that happened. Anyway, um, that's all I got. I don't know. I don't hate them fundamentally. I would never purchase all of them though, right? Like so I may
Yeah.
have been kind of incredulous sometimes. It's just like, what? Dynasty Warriors 6 Extreme Legends just came out? Like, who would get this? But somebody does. Like, maybe there's always somebody who hasn't played one in a while who's like, yeah, I'll grab this one. It's the newest one. Whatever. Maybe it's like that.
You know what I would
But,
kind of like is if they did a weird crossover with like Soul Calibur characters, because I would like to do the different weapons with the different
oh,
characters.
yeah, okay.
That could be okay.
Oh, what was that shitty Wii Soul Calibur spinoff? Did that play like that?
No, I have that actually.
What was that? Soul Calibur Legends or whatever?
Legends. Yep.
What was that like?
Like a bad 3D Zelda.
But it was like a
Kinda.
behind the third person action thing,
From what
adventure.
I remember, I played like 10 minutes of it. I should probably just pop it in and try it again.
Okay.
I can report back on that one,
Hmm.
I guess, if I need to. Homework?
Homework. Play Soul Calibur Legends.
Yeah. Okay, next voicemail. Here we go.
Hey Paul, hey Nate. So there's this one game that I really like. It's called Transformers Fall of Cybertron. I actually convinced you to get the one that came before it, Paul, War for Cybertron. And it's a
Mm-hmm.
really good game,
Mm-hmm.
but recently they came out with a sequel, but it's not made by the same people who made the other two ones, and it's kind of shitty. Kind of like it reminds me of that whole situation of I think it was Arkham Origins where the different people were making the game and they lost a lot
Yeah.
of the same people who did it. Like I know Joker and Batman's voice actors weren't in Arkham Origins. Also, they tied in the game with the movies. That's no. Like it was no. The Transformers games were so cool. They didn't need to be in.
I
No,
agree.
they don't need to tie into the movies. So my question is, what are some games like that that have made you sad where the they lost the rights to some game or some bullshit? Also, fuck, I can't remember what I was gonna ask. Oh well, see ya.
I
Okay.
picked up Fall of Cybertron. I heard it was cool, actually. Like
Those
the
games are legitimately good. They're like Gears of War in a Transformers universe.
yeah, no, I've heard they're pretty interesting. I've also heard people complaining about Dark Spark or something, the new one. Is that what it's called?
Dark.
Something about the Dark Spark,
I don't know.
right? Yeah, but yeah, like a different team inherits it. Arkham Origins is actually a pretty good example.
That's a really
Uh,
good example.
I mean, it's not like bad. It's just not as good, and you can
Yeah.
tell. Like it's fine. I just kind of wasn't pulled in the same way. I'm trying to think if there's like it's not really fair, but when I was all up on my Zero Escape game stuff and I played 999 and Virtue's Last Reward, I was like, okay, what else did this company do? And the same publisher did those Inichi Chambara games, so I picked up one of those, and it is not the same thing. Like they're the same virtual novel kind of basic thing, but the level of writing and stuff is just not the same. So it's not quite fair though, because it's not really the same creators. It's more just like a same genre and company, like publisher. It'd be like if I was comparing Atlas games based on that Atlas published them, not which team made them. So that's not really fair.
Like,
Like it's like,
yeah,
man, Persona, like this Devil Summoner 2 isn't as good as Persona 4. It's like it's a totally different company, like, you know. So I've tried branching into spin-offs and like other things based on my enthusiasm for one, and it hasn't taken. But I'm trying to think if there's been a franchise where there's clearly like just a new team did this. I guess like Spider-Man games have been all over the place.
yeah,
Like some of them are
like
really
the Tony
good, and
Hawk
some of them
games
aren't.
too.
Oh, yeah, okay. So Neversoft kind of involved in both of those, right? I think they
Yeah,
did some Spider-Man stuff. Like I played
yeah.
one on N64 and thought it was fantastic, and then like I'm told Spider-Man 2 is really good, like the adaptation of the movie and stuff. But then what was I playing? It was one of Friend or Foe. I was just kind of not into it. Like the
I
is the
heard that was
360
not
one.
bad.
I heard it's easy achievements, and that's why I was trying
Oh,
to play it, but I wasn't
oh, okay.
really getting too caught up in it. A
I'm
lot of
gonna
quick
go ahead
time
and
events and
say
stuff.
anything with the title Resident Evil in it without Shinji Mikami being involved
Mm-hmm.
is a big downfall for me.
Right. Actually, honestly, like, yeah, 5 was kind of a thing for me. I was like, I was coming off 4 and I was so stoked. And then, like, oh man, like, a bunch of friends got together for that. Like, it was like we'd all pre ordered it. We hooked up, like, several TVs and we're both playing co op sessions or
Hmm.
whatever. And it's just like, I think it was like the second truck, like, gunner sequence or something. Is there multiple times that happens? Or am I just saying the first time it happened? Whatever. There was
There
just,
was at
like,
least
kind of
twice.
gameplay beats in there that was kind of like this isn't doing it right. I don't know how to say it. Like, it was just like, yeah, there's a big kind of troll monster, but I'm just shooting it with this chain gun. Like, it's not scary. Like, it's not intense the way it was when I fought that troll thing in Resident Evil 4. Like, it just
Hmm.
didn't have the pacing right. And then, yeah, hearing way after, it's like, oh yeah, Shinji Mikami didn't make that. It's like, oh, okay, thank goodness. Like, that makes sense. Like, there's a
Kind of
quality dip.
any of the Call of Duties that Treyarch worked on didn't feel as tight.
Yeah, Call of Duty 3 was a big kind of for because like 2 I played and then I rented 3. I think
Hmm.
I just saw that the reviews and stuff were way lower and I was kind of just like put off and I was like, what's going on? It's like two teams make these and this one was the other team. But they've kind of changed the conversation on that cuz people like Black Ops and all that. But yeah,
Well,
franchises. But
Black
it's
Ops
kind of
didn't
like
play as good though. What it did, the narrative better.
actually now I'm like
Yes.
this is like 3 different series now. I guess the trend is Activision. Because, like, the
Sure.
Transformers games, Spider Man, and Call of Duty, like, it's just like, they just don't care who makes them. They're just like, put another thing with this name on the box. I don't care. And it's just like, that kind of creates this weird expectation of just like, what? Why isn't this as good as the last one? Oh, no one involved with that had anything to do with this. And you're just like, oh, okay. That makes sense. So, yeah, Activision is a publisher. Maybe some of the Assassin's Creed games, like 3, everyone kind of hated 3, and then 4
Yeah.
everyone liked. So I don't know,
I think the
different
reason
teams.
everyone liked 4 though was because pirate, not because it
Yeah,
was Assassin's Creed.
you're right. It was just like
So
sailing around and you get your pirate ship and all this stuff. But yeah, there's definitely been franchise variations. Anyway, is that kind of that's the meat of that question? That was right.
yep, I think that's answered. So he asked if he could send one more in, and I allowed it because I wasn't expecting anyone else to send anything in. So here's a fourth one from Marshmallow. Here we go.
Hey Paul, hey Nate. Paul, a while ago you told me how you don't like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure because a couple of years ago that was all people were talking about was JoJo's Bizarre Adventure this, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure that. Well, I have that same problem where if everybody's talking about something, I grow to dislike it.
Hmm.
And oh my God, people are talking about Tokyo Ghoul now. It's some, or not now, just some anime. I don't care.
No
I don't
idea.
care. All they do is talk about it. That's all it is. It's like, there's other good anime out there. Why are you focusing on just this one? Oh my god, I'm tired of hearing about it. Another anime that's like that for me was Kill la Kill. Oh my god, I'm tired. Like, I think I might have actually liked it if people weren't talking about it so much. It's kind of sad. Like, I think I might have liked Kill la Kill if it wasn't just fed to me to be this
So
Christ-like
mad.
anime. Oh well. My question is, are there any games or anime like that for you? I'll see you at the stream.
Oh,
Where
Wind
the
Waker.
conversation about it. Oh yeah, because of the sailing stuff. You just never really liked that game, right? And people keep
Like I never.
touting it
I
as one of the best
okay.
ones.
I'll give you my honest feelings progression about that game. Screenshots of it come out. This is kind of a new weird look. Okay, I could go with this.
Mm,
It looks fine.
yep. I remember I
People
printed off a screen cap of that and brought it to school and was like,
really,
dude, have you seen this? Like, look at how weird it looks. Yeah, it was
yeah.
awesome. But,
Then
okay.
people started talking about it, like a bit. And I'm like, okay, so it sounds like it could be pretty cool. People kept talking about it more for the next 20 years. Shut the fuck up. Seriously, it's not that great. People talked about it more the next couple years. Okay, I fucking hate this game. I play the game, and I'm like, it's whatever. And then people are like, what are you talking about? It's the best Legend of Zelda. Okay, it's the worst one now. Like,
Like, your intensity is pushing me further away.
it was never even on a chart of, like, this is good, great sort of thing for me. But the fact that, like, it was bearable for a long time to me. And then as people talk about it, I hate everybody that likes that game. Like, I just can't stand them. So people people turn that game from meh to I like outwardly dislike you as a person if you talk about that game. So
Weird.
call out to Sean Booker of TDP.
Oh, okay.
Fuck you.
I was like, is this just like a Twitter like circle or something that you're into? Like, I've not seen people ever like really talk about that game since it came
Oh,
out. Like,
no. No, like it's not a Twitter thing necessarily. It's the fact that whenever I talk to people about Legend of Zelda and they say Wind Waker or like ask me about Wind Waker and I say I don't like it, they get outwardly like fucking annoyed
uppity
about
about
it.
it. Weird.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I was super excited about that game when it came out. I remember just like, yeah, a friend of mine both got it at the same time, and we like just like phoned each other, and we were both on the starting island, and just like, look at how crazy this looks, man! It's like a cartoon, and we were just like jumping around and like, oh, I
Yeah.
found a pig, like just like basically narrating our gaming stuff to
You
each
were
other over
live
the
tweeting
phone.
it over the phone,
Yeah, to one
essentially.
person, audience of one. It's like
Yeah.
awesome. That's how it used to be.
I still tweet like it's the audience of one, and for some reason people get upset sometimes because
Oh,
I
okay.
remember.
I am 3D Homer like calling out Breaking Bad hype getting kind of too intense. Yeah, like
Yeah,
it is a solid crime show. Like the level of like zeal people have for it is just like I don't.
oh,
It's
Game of
okay.
Thrones. Boom.
Game of Thrones. People were talking about anime a lot, so I kind of brought up Attack on Titan of just like I like a lot of things in it, but then at some point it's just like this pace is terrible. Like just get going. Like do the thing. Solve the problem. Like it's just taking forever. It's just
Yeah.
like, oh, we gotta do this totally other thing. It's like, no, you don't. Go to the basement, man. Kick open that door and see what's in there, and then we can move on. And it's just like, no, we're just not
Then
gonna.
I can move on.
Yeah, like it's just I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
like the way that show is pacing out. Like hopefully like our hope is like fingers crossed it doesn't go the Naruto route where it's just ending like 10 years later.
Didn't I tell you about what they're doing?
No, what?
The next season is a prequel.
Fuck, that's the worst.
Wait, did I seriously not have this discussion with you?
I don't know. That's stupid. I
Like
might have heard that.
it's
I just
it
that's
it's basically like who was it?
Wait,
Levi or whatever's origin story.
who cares, man? Why?
Right?
Just do that later. Like, make another show at another point if you want to do that. Whatever. I haven't seen season 2. I only saw the first one. Also, I don't care if the lyrical content of the song is no longer describing what is going on in the show. The first theme song needs to come back. Delete that shit. Put the first theme
Yeah.
song back. Like, yay.
That
I don't even know
that song, anytime
the
it
lyrics.
plays at work, like when
Mhm.
I'm typing, I'm instantly transported to like I gotta type this so I can kill the Titans or something. Like it's just epic.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fantastic. And I up to that point, I didn't know changing your theme song was a routine thing. I was like, why would they do that? It's like, well,
Yeah.
it's season 2 now, sort of. We need to keep up with what's happening. It's like,
Yeah.
Death Note did it too. They changed their theme song. The second theme song is so dumb.
But
Anyway,
like the thing is with anime theme songs, you usually don't give a shit because you skip
yeah,
it because it's too long and annoying anyway. Attack on
sure.
Titan, I never skipped that fucking theme song. It played out every time, and I would just like get up off the couch and start headbanging and like punching the walls or something. Like every time.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, hype can totally inflate a thing. In terms of games, did you said a game? Did I say a game? It was
No.
kind of just heavily touted to the point where it's like, all right, I'll check it out. What are you guys talking about? That has definitely happened. Saying that out loud.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the smaller scale version and say Gunpoint.
Yes. Okay. I had to the detective like
Like
puzzle
this
game.
jumping hacking game. Like
That game
the
is kind of not great. So
but the level of excitement, like it was like showing up on top 10 lists, and people were like, "Oh man, this is amazing stuff right here. This is incredible." And it's like, I, what are you talking about? Like
the
it's
best thing
you
about that
jump
game
and
is
shit.
the smooth jazz music. That's the best
Okay,
part of that whole game.
yeah.
That's it.
I could not. I guess similar, also side scrolling thing. Mark of the Ninja. I don't like playing it. I don't think it's fun. Like there's that,
Yeah.
and I don't think the thing that really kind of stuck in my craw was you can't kill dogs, and I thought
Yes.
that was
Yes.
stupid
I
because
am
it was
3D
just like,
Homer, The Last of Us. Thank you. Yes.
oh,
Yes.
okay,
I praise I am 3D Homer right now because I still can't get into that game at all, and I don't see why people could play more than an hour of it. Like,
uh, I I ended up kind of digging it in a like just third person action campaign way, like Resident Evil or something, like just kind of enjoying some gameplay points for sure.
like that's kind of the only thing that's keeping me wanting to come back to see those points, but I just
Mhm.
don't want to play that game. Like, I don't want to. Maybe I'll watch a Let's Play of it or
I
something.
mean, I got right into it right when it was happening and played all of it then and have never played it again. So, and it did not make a spot on my top 10 list that year. I basically put it at 11 or something. I'm just like, it's good, but not that good. So I'm just gonna
Yeah.
bump it. But, and yeah, people were saying kind of really hyperbolic things, but like, finally, video game storytelling has arrived, and you're just like, you have not been playing stuff, I guess. Like, I hate that you said that. Like, now I
Yeah.
know what your level of back catalog and things you have played is, because you wouldn't say that if you actually cared. Like, blah.
Because like
It's like, do you
I'm just
want things to be movie style storytelling? Is that what you're hoping for? Because that's
well, the
not what
thing
we're
is,
doing.
like whatever story like telling thing you want in video games, I could probably name 5 games that did it better than Last of Us for what specific things you wanted. Like if you
Right.
wanted movie story type of like dumb bullshit sort of thing with a basis maybe in reality, Kojima's been doing that for years, decades even.
So totally has. Like,
So
it's
like
yeah, it's like maybe the gameplay side of that equation didn't work for you, and I understand it, but if you were
yeah.
willing to get over it, you would have found that
Like, dude, whatever.
16
Half an
years
hour of
ago.
gameplay for 45 minutes of cutscene. It's a
Yeah.
fair trade.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, whatever.
People need to get fucked. Next voicemail.
Oh, people writing about
So, since
games.
it's October, I've been thinking about horror.
The idea I've been running with is that traditional horror tropes, as much as I like them, are kind of what holds horror back from being as effective as it could be.
I agree.
Standard horror gives too much up front.
Yep.
If you do find horror scary, generally you've kind of worked yourself into that state or predisposed yourself to be in that state, turning off the lights, that kind of thing. So as soon as you agree to experience the fiction, you sort of made that pact. Like the new Conjuring spin-off Annabelle. That doll is too inherently creepy to be believable in the story or even scary.
Yeah.
My favorite horror experience in a game in a long time, it's one of, is the level Muncher Marathon from Donkey Kong Country Returns, the spider level.
Yes.
And that level really stuck with me because A, I didn't see it coming at all, and B, they never went back to that particular gimmick. I don't think you can put the genie back in the bottle with this stuff. And I think you can more naturally tap into those emotions of dread, tension, and fear that horror is theoretically after if you couch your experience in stuff we find comfortable. It's one of the reasons I really appreciate Majora's Mask conceptually, horror couched in Zelda mythos. It was a cool idea. And when horror relies on stuff people have phobias of, I think that's when it becomes annoying and something that people just don't want to engage with. So you guys have any thoughts?
Okay, my first thought is, why isn't he doing this podcast? Because he seems to have a better grasp on how to speak eloquently on things than we do.
Well, if you edit down, I don't know.
I kind of like his voice, too. It gets me all hot.
The Annabelle doll. Actually, the first time the Annabelle doll appeared on screen, there was just laughs throughout the theater because it is so nuts looking. Like, what character could be like, oh, this is great, and not be like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. This is, like, why would I own this and keep it anywhere? This thing is a nightmare. Like, yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. Fair enough on that. And, yeah, a part of it is totally just entering in with the pact and being like, I want to be scared right now, so I'm going to turn off the lights and kind of get in the mood and, like, kind of rev myself up a bit. And, yeah, like, or if I hear something is incredibly scary and then I go to watch it, I will, like, make that be so. Like, when I went to watch House of the Devil, like, I had to, like, pause that movie at a point because I was getting so, like, oh, something's gonna happen.
Yeah, you work yourself up.
And it was just, like, it's not gonna be that crazy. Like, what's gonna happen? Like, a character on the movie screen is gonna die or something. Like, it's not gonna be the worst, but, yeah, that movie got me. So I guess part of it is just kind of I have no idea what you're talking about with Donkey Kong Country Returns, and I want to play it now. Like, I've been thinking about Retro Studios stuff in general since I've been playing all this Metroid, but there's like a crazy horror sequence in this game.
No, really, it's a level, but
it's like intense kind of gameplay stuff.
Like, yeah, I guess so.
Okay,
I'm trying to think of what he was getting at. Maybe the spider thing. With you're being chased, basically.
Okay.
So,
I'm trying to think of other like chase stuff. Like there was that like blind creature in Gears 1, and that was kind of awesome and intense.
The Berserker.
Yeah. Like there's kind of just like, oh, this like action campaign, and then there's this other kind of gameplay stuff with this big thing chasing you, and that was kind of cool.
Okay, so like I'm just trying to think of different types of horrors and games that did it well. Slender does horror in the way that there's just a basic idea that like you're your own worst enemy in that game because you know there is something following you. It's written in the code that this thing is behind you, and you know this. Yeah. But sometimes it isn't, and that's the most terrifying part because then it's like, well, where the fuck is he? You kind of do it to yourself. Game like Dead Space, the first one, the thing I liked about that is that it had, like, the action sequences and stuff, but it's this idea of being isolated on a floating, desolate vessel that, like, you can't get off of sort of thing. And they paced out parts of it well enough that some parts felt intense because it was like, you think something's going to jump out at you, and then it totally doesn't. But then when you think you're fine or you're going to the next thing, something crawls out of a vent or, like, breaks through. And then gets you. It relies very heavily on jump scares too, though. So
that's kind of a thing I like. Games that are obviously heavily scripted don't seem to get me going in the same way. Like
Yeah.
there were aspects of Resident Evil 1 that I found so incredible because it's like, oh shit, we didn't kill that one before. It's a redhead now. Where is it? And then you're just kind of like, I know it's in this hallway, but I can't see. I don't like, I'm kind of under equipped. Like there were other elements amping up that tension other than just once you cross this line, this event happens or whatever. Like
Yeah.
there was this sequence in Dead Space 2 that everyone was so into where there isn't anything for like 20 minutes.
I never played Dead Space 2, just as a
Okay.
disclaimer.
Sorry for that. Whatever. There's a part where you kind of go to I think the ship from the first game, and because you've played the first game in theory, you're kind of supposed to be like on the edge of your seat, just like, oh shit, something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen. And then it doesn't happen. But I don't know. Like I just kind of picked up on a wavelength of like I don't think anything's gonna happen because like it doesn't make sense for like there are none of the signifiers of like things are gonna happen in this scene. Like there's no like blood anywhere or anything. Like I don't think there's gonna be anything to worry about, and there wasn't. So I wasn't on the edge of my seat, and it was just kind of like boring gameplay because it's just follow the linear level until you get to a place where a thing happens again. And
Well,
it was
because
kind of
they're
like,
expecting. Yeah, this is the thing: is that if you're making a video game, an interactive experience, you're trying to guess the points in which people will stress themselves out and kind of feed on that. Whereas in your case, they didn't hit that for you, or maybe it was ruined for you by something else that happened.
like foreknowledge of any kind would ruin it. But yeah,
Foreknowledge, even if you had like a really great day and you were like hanging out with like your best friend and you were playing the game, that would ruin it too. Like other
Yeah.
circumstances. So like the thing with like coding video games and stuff, it's very much still just the 1 and 0 thing of like a yes or no, right? Like this will always happen if the player inputs this way, sort of thing. So you can't really do anything great with that unless you do something completely random which breaks gameplay, which is apparently the biggest problem Evil Within has that people are talking about.
Which is what? Sorry, it breaks gameplay.
Yeah, because you know that dude or whatever that's following you around, the thing that's like chasing you or like can pop up anywhere.
Okay, I haven't
He's-
seen footage of the game. I don't know.
It's
what's
literally
happening.
so random that you can like start in an area and just die, or like you will be unable to get away from this thing because
Okay.
it's so random.
Okay.
It breaks the game, basically.
At present,
and
though, it's not out yet, right? But
it's not out yet. It's coming out this month.
Mhm. I like
I
that that's like
believe.
a system thing, though. It sounds like it's not just like it's a random element. It's not a set fixed thing, right? So
Right.
that could still be cool. Like, yeah, I find Slender like incredibly unnerving because but it's another thing where you're kind of like, do you want to play a dark, spooky forest with a monster in it game? Like you're entering into kind of an agreement, and you're gonna get yourself psyched up, and I do, to the point where I just don't play it anymore. Same with like Freddy and stuff, right? Like it's just like I just don't want to play this. Like I just don't want to be stressed out right now. So I'm
The
not going
thing
to.
with Freddy specifically is not necessarily so much as a horror game as it is a stress machine.
Yeah, sure.
So, like, there is a certain type of horror in there. I want to go ahead and talk about one game I mentioned kind of maybe too briefly. Never-Ending Nightmares.
Oh yeah,
I talked
okay.
about on Top Down.
Yeah,
The
no.
way they do horror seems so childish and like, ooh, like blood and creepy things happening to this person. But the gameplay elements in that game, like I was saying, you're like walking down the same looking hallways a lot, or like turning this dark corner into a next hallway and going through like these rooms where there's literally absolutely nothing happening. It gives you this weird claustrophobic feeling that you bring upon yourself just playing the game. So when something creepy happens, it's creepy. It's not scary, but the horror is in that you feel like you're stuck in this thing that you're never going to get out of. Like you keep waking up in this place that you don't want to be in, and you're traversing these hallways and corridors and rooms, and it just starts to like drag on your mind. That's kind of a weird like psychological horror that I haven't felt in maybe ever in video games. Because video games
Okay.
always try to give you something new, something scary, something snappy. Like, we got to keep your attention. This game very much is almost trying to get rid of your attention because it's so
Like
blatantly
lure you
like,
into a state of like, ah, nothing's happening, and it's like, but wait, then something will happen. So you're kind of
no, see, this is the
you're
thing
not
is that
letting
like
your guard down, kind of thing. Like it's trying to get your guard down. Is that what's happening?
the thing is that like it would basically there's something unnerving about redoing this. It's the same with Groundhog Day in a weird way. Doing the same thing over and over and you can't get out of it is
Well, like,
unnerving in a weird way. But when you're a viewer of Groundhog Day, like even though it's a silly thing, the idea
yeah,
of it of repeating the same day over and over is kind of terrifying. But
and
like
that's what
as a
Majora's Mask is trading on.
and
Like,
as a
and it,
viewer, it doesn't
yeah,
have any impact on you. But when you're traversing the same corridor every fucking night and it's the same nightmare over and over, like you wake up every time and you're stuck in this perpetual nightmare that
hmm
won't stop, is kind of amazing what he's trying to do. Like the actual way it plays and looks and like some of the silly like, oh, he stabbed himself in the gut because some maybe like it's a euphemism or something for something later on or in the story. I don't care about any of that. The fact of the matter is I just spent like 20 minutes looking to see what the hell I'm supposed to do, only to wake up right back where I started and have to do it again. That to me is a weird kind of psychological trick that they're playing on you as you play through that game.
And sorry, yeah, Majora's Mask kind of stuff. That
Yeah, Majora's
would,
Mask did
would
the same thing. I didn't mean to just kind of. I wanted to
dismiss
give
that.
that
Yeah.
more. I wanted to give Neverending Nightmares more time on that because it actually turned me around. I thought it was going to be ridiculous, and I was going into it with the mindset of this is really stupid. In fact, like I have a video up of when I was streaming it, and I was kind of making fun of it. And then by the end, I'm just like, this is actually making me feel kind of claustrophobic right now, to be completely honest. Like I was starting to get uneasy about stuff,
Mm,
which is an
okay.
amazing feat to turn me around with an interactive piece. Like, come on. That's and the thing is I didn't feel like top down was probably the right place to go into this because like it just isn't. People want to hear about the Smash Bros or something.
Or the
But
Hyrule Warriors. But yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I guess two things. What was that one indie game we did a talks about it? It was House or something, or like
Home.
Home. Like that
Ben
game
Rivers.
had kind of an element to it that kind of similar to our that kind of Dead Space scripting thing of just like because there is no action mechanic in the game, like
Yeah.
I knew there couldn't ever be a gameplay threat that would be like, oh no, there's a thing, because like
Hmm.
it's like there isn't mechanics for it, So it's just kind of almost like an interactive novel at that point where you're just going through. So like all the kind of atmosphere and stuff in that game almost didn't matter because it's just like, well, I know it's just going to be a reading experience, and like I'm into that. Like I'll play through it, and I see that there's choices and things, but
Yeah.
because the game isn't lying to me that there could be an action thing at some point that I need to perform, like a
Yeah.
new mechanic for me, like I'm kind of able to return to my comfort zone. Whereas
Hmm.
I guess I was thinking about it in that like Deadly Premonition, honestly, like it
Yeah.
has like just kind of you're just hanging out and you're just doing stuff and like uh-oh, nightmare stuff, and then now you have this suite of action mechanics, but you never know kind of when it's going to turn on you. And like
Yes.
probably one of the like most unnerving things for me that happened in that game was I thought the pause menu is really unsettling because there's just that deer and it moves,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
like I was just like I have escaped to the safety of the pause screen. Oh, like it was just kind of this weird little thing. I'm just like I wasn't expecting there to be anything remotely ominous in my safe zone, which is me managing my inventory and all that stuff. So does Fatal Frame like screw with that kind of stuff?
Fatal Frame terrifies me in a way that it doesn't feel like it terrifies anybody else. I don't know why.
Well, I mean,
When we were
that kind
talking
of
about Freddy, you know how
yeah,
I feel about looking at life through a camera.
cameras and stuff, right? And that's like what this game is about, is the
Yeah.
reality, like you're
Yeah.
electing to look through a thing, right?
You have
So,
to, because you can't see the enemies unless you're looking through it.
oh, so there actually are threatening enemies trying to attack you, and you
They're
need to do
ghosts.
this. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I haven't really played it, so that sounds just torturous. I don't know.
Yes.
Or okay, like final point, I guess it's more just like a question. I've heard the game Siren is really good, like the PS3
Sure.
episodic game. Have you checked into that at all? Do you know
Yes.
what's going on with
I
that?
have. Yeah, it's good.
Like, what kind of game
It's
is it though? Is it an action
it
game?
plays
Or...
like a Silent Hill.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Horror is something video games can totally do in completely bizarre and new ways. That like, oh, okay, sorry. One more. There was that moment when I was playing. Oh, what's that game? You're on the island. There's a weird panther.
Dead Island.
No, no, no,
Oh,
no, no.
Miasmata?
Miasmata. There
Yeah.
was like, I guess this is maybe my favorite example of this not scripted but just systems driven scare of just like you're on an island, you're collecting ingredients, you have this kind of map that you're kind of trying to chart your way, and like the main thing you are preoccupied with the whole time is just navigation. So you're just trying to figure out how to get around this island and get to safe zones and whatever. And
Yeah.
you know through just reading notes and stuff and like even seeing the trailer for the game that somewhere on the island there's a creature.
That you don't
But
know about though when you're playing until it
well,
happens to you.
until it happens to you, or like you can read that there is something, but you don't know when you're
Yeah.
going to encounter it or where because it's just moving around. It was almost
Yeah.
kind of like just like a simple arcade thing of just like there is a antagonistic force, like there's just like a ghost in Pac-Man or something moving around this maze, and you don't know when you're going to cross paths with it. But
Have
you're
you
in
ever
this
played
3D
3D
environment.
Pac-Man?
No.
First person
Oh
Pac-Man?
God, that'd be
Holy
the
fuck.
worst.
It's
Because
so
you just can't
bad.
see. You're just looking out corridors, and you're just like, oh shit. I can
That's
imagine what
that's
that would be like immediately.
it's really I couldn't play more than like a minute of it. It actually
Oh my
terrified
God.
me.
That would be intense because yeah, like it's just they're randomly moving around that maze, and when you can zoom it
Yeah.
out, you can see that it's just a pattern. And I'm sure that panther is just moving in some sort of coordinated pattern,
Of course he is. Yeah.
but you don't know when you're gonna end up with that. So there was a time where I basically just jumped right out of my skin, where I was like charting a thing, looking at my map in game, kind of looking up at reference points and stuff. And like because they give you this activity to preoccupy so much of your attention, it was literally a moment of just kind of like glancing over and seeing something and just, oh shit, oh no! Like it was just like immediate panic of just like I am in no way prepared to deal with like that now. I was so
Yeah.
busy doing this other thing, and I was like, man, that was impressive. Like I had no idea, and it's just like you just start running full tilt into a forest and trip and fall and all this kind of mechanics they've put in there to make that a thing you can just have happen.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Like that was a point where that game just jumped another level of just like that. Like it set out a rug for me and like let me know and let me stand on it. And then it's just like I know this is gonna happen, but I don't know when. It was so good, so good. So those kind of not like expected scares, like not jump scare kind of stuff of just like, no, there's just a threat and you could encounter it and you don't know when or how. Like that was my favorite. Yeah, yeah.
I want to talk about Clock Tower games.
Oh, okay.
They-
I've been curious
they
about
did-
the third one specifically, but
Yeah,
yeah.
the third one specifically is the one I kind of want to talk about because that game you are playing a 14-year-old girl, so
Mhm.
you have to hide
Yeah.
from everything. And I don't know what it is. Hiding mechanics in games scares the shit out of me. Like
Sure.
just this
Just
idea
like-
that like, oh man, if I like breathe too heavy, maybe he'll hear me. Like of course he won't because it's coded usually in a way that when you're
Mhm.
out of this enemy's line of sight, then they leave, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But there's always that intense moment where you like go into a closet and you're like peeking through the holes, and this guy with this giant sledgehammer is like looking around, then he like looks at the closet or something, and then like turns around and walks out. But there's that
Mhm.
split second of doubt where it's
Yeah.
like, the thing is, if I remember correctly, I might be completely off base with this. I think they could actually look in the hiding spots in Clock Tower 3 as well, like randomly. They could like
Mhm.
open the closet door and look in it, which is terrifying.
Like you're saying, they'll just elect to peek in there sometimes, or
Yeah. Well,
oh,
to like
okay.
interact with the object to
Hmm.
like, and then you would be like in their line of sight, and then they would attack you, sort of thing.
Mm.
I can't remember if that was a thing in that game or not,
Like, do you
but it
have
felt
Clock
like
Tower
it.
3 or?
No, I rented it
Oh, okay.
from
Just
probably from Game Dudes.
like my weird kind of like, what the heck? It was directed by the same dude who made Battle Royale, like the movie, made that game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like I was just like,
Oh,
what? Why did that happen? Like, so that was kind of an extra thing I was wondering about. There's a bunch of PS2 era horror games that I just never played, like Haunting
yes,
Ground or Rule of
yes,
Rose.
yes.
Like, they're just kind of like these are intriguing things that happen, but I never really looked into that.
Have you
So
ever heard of a game called Ill Bleed?
no,
Dreamcast era?
no. What is that?
Okay. That game is, you are a character and you are basically walking through a haunted house sort of thing where things are coming out to like jump at you, or there's traps and stuff, and it's
Hmm.
based all around your psych meter and your heart meter, and like you can get like be bleeding and lose health and stuff as well. It's basically, think of like an on rails thing where instead of shooting at like guys that pop out in an area, you have to like take out your sensor to see, oh, there is a trap here somewhere. That looks a little off. Like, look over in that area. You disarm that trap, you can keep going. It's all about
Hmm.
disarming the attacks on your senses instead of attacking things that are trying to like kill you.
Okay. Like the
Yeah.
cover for this has this weird half smiling, half docile person. The Japanese
What?
art, anyway. It's weird. I don't know. The Wikipedia article. It's all one word. I didn't. I before typed in ill bleed like space,
Oh
but
yeah, no, it's like it's all one word, yeah.
it's definitely a very interesting subgenre that kind of plays with some stuff. Like it really just the engagement with the player. Like hearing all this stuff about the PT thing has made me like just been like so curious about what is going on with that. Like that
With
sounds
PT.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, I've seen it. Because I don't have a PlayStation, so I watched a
You
playthrough of
watched
it.
it, yeah. Is it does
Yeah.
it look like it's doing some cool stuff or
I wouldn't be able to get through it. I would turn it off.
okay, yeah. But it's the thing. It's like it demands kind of a like I guess we always talk about kind of like the is the term fun correct to be used to apply to all games and stuff, but it's just like I usually turn to video games for some manner of fun. And it's just like if it's like no, this is stressful. This is meant to be a jarring experience. It's just like I don't want that all the time, so I might not play it, you know? Like it's like a combat thing I can like Resident Evil 4 is just a fun action game that has
Yeah.
tense stuff in it. It's not
Yeah.
like no, the point of this is you don't have power and you are not especially skilled at dealing with this and you need to figure out how to get through this kind of scenario. It's just kind of that's awful. I don't want to do that. So I've kind of opted not to play a bunch of stuff over the years. If I ever choose to though, I don't know. But yeah, horror
Also,
games.
I have not played LSD Dream Emulator
What the hell?
to like address
Yeah,
Necronomic
okay.
Gamer in the chat. I haven't played it, but
So
I would
I don't
like to
know.
maybe.
I don't even remember what like was there a specific question? Like we just kind of ended up talking about horror games a bunch. So there you go. Horror games are crazy. Horror movies are their own thing. That doll is too creepy for that movie to make
Yeah.
sense at times. Like yeah, there's
I
things
think
like
the
that.
question maybe revolved around mechanics about video games to like.
Okay, well, we
explore.
talked about kind of the system stuff versus the scripted scares and those kind of things. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Next voicemail. Here we go.
Okay.
So I have some patterns of gaming I've noticed in myself. That like when I'm comfortable with where I am with games, I generally have a game that I am interested in like for sort of grinding purposes and that steady progression of like leveling up, and a game that I'm interested in more competitively, like really in competing against people and improving sort of in that way.
Dota.
And like sometimes in the games that there aren't that many games that I've cycled through in those sort of things. Like with competitive stuff, there's Dota, there's Counter Strike, there's Street Fighter. With grinding, there's Pokemon, there's Fire Emblem, there's Persona, there's World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft also falls into competitive thing too for me.
Sure.
So I was just wondering if you guys have noticed any similar, like, or even just different, like any kind of patterns within yourselves in your gaming habits over the years. Like, is there? And with me also, part of that is I'll be totally into playing this game for 100 hours or hundreds of hours or whatever, and then I'll just hit a point where nope, I'm done. I could eventually get back to a point where I could play that game again with like World of Warcraft or Dota, but I can't play it anymore right now. It's just that somehow I can't. Like I work up no energy to play that game at the moment. I need the break. So do you guys have any? Has that ever happened to you too?
Hmm.
I mean, patterns. Like, I definitely kind of get into kind of recurring, like, thirsts, I guess, or just like, I want this type of experience. Okay. And then I'll play Zelda again. Like, honestly, I have like a annual, semi-biannual, like, Zelda clock or something, and I can just jump in on one of those and play through a whole one of those every so often.
Sure.
I mean, I'm trying to think if that like leads to other things like that. Not really. Or it's like I'm trying to think if there's like a genre where I've cracked into something, found something I liked,
Like,
and then tried
do we
to.
have to say a genre? Because I will say I like games that employ a standard, simplified base of like good mechanics that the progression feels like you get better as the game progresses, as you understand those mechanics better and you can do them. So
Like
like Dota would fall into that for one thing. There's like Dark Souls would definitely fall into that. Like the progression isn't so much in that you get the next better item so much as you've played enough that you feel more comfortable with how the game plays or what you can do to break it or what you could do to like exploit certain things like well, Legend of Zelda would actually probably fall into this a little bit as well.
Well,
You get more.
like
You get items. It's very item.
like that's the thing though. Like it just seems kind of gated in that it's like go to this dungeon, get an item. You can now proceed to this. Now get that. Even Metroid does that. Of just
That's
like
what I liked about Link Between Worlds, though, is that I had all the
that it
items
was
right at the
more
beginning.
open. Right.
Yeah.
Or like does Shadows of Mordor have that kind of stuff? People have been throwing around a lot of Batman comparisons, so I'm
Shadows of
wondering if that
Mordor
extends.
is fantastic in that. Yeah, is
it structured that way or no?
Yes, in a way. It also, like, as you get better at the mechanics, it gives you more mechanics to get better with. So, like, at the beginning, you'll have, say, like, a basic slash 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 combo, and, like, you can jump around doing that. But as you get, like, do missions and get better at that sort of stuff, now you can also knock a fucking orc down and then move to the next one or something. And now you can jump over this guy, and when you do, he will be stunned for a second, so you can take on another guy that you can now also knock down when you jump to the other guy. And now you can throw a dagger, so after you jump over that guy, knock down the other guy, and go after the other guy, you can throw a dagger at the other guy running towards you. So it adds a little bit at a time, on top of you learning the mechanics and feeling comfortable with it. So yeah.
I mean, in the chat, I mentioned Skate 2 is a game that actually, I think it's structured in that way where it's like you just get better at doing the mechanics, but you could actually do any trick at any time if
I'm
you
pretty sure
know
that
how.
was Skate 1 as well.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
I guess just Skate 2 was considered kind of the high point in that series.
Okay, fair enough.
So it was like it iterated on some of the problems of the first one, but it didn't get so online centric that it was the third one. But
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a game I've been curious about forever, but I never really got too into. So yeah, where skills and stuff directly is the thing that's improving is you improve, not so much you just kind of hit benchmarks built into the game where things unlock for you because you put
Yeah.
enough time into it or something.
Yeah.
um like patterns, like I got kind of hooked by, I brought him up again earlier, like the zero escape stuff, and then I was kind of trying to extend that to other visual novel stuff, and then got kind of hung up on Onichambara, and then just kind of stopped. Like I just kind of met my quota, ran out of the games I liked that were that, and then just was like,
Sure.
okay, I'll just wait for more of these eventually or something. Like I'll just stop. Um, I guess the exact example of like getting into a game for a long time and then just stopping cold. Final Fantasy Tactics Advance.
Okay.
Like I played a couple dozen hours of that and then just was like, I'm done with this and how this plays. I don't want to play this grid based thing anymore, and I just stopped playing it.
Like forever.
Yeah, I've never gone back to it.
Okay.
Like, uh, I've gone back to the genre on occasion. Like people keep saying like Fire Emblem. I tried the first one on GBA, like the one that was ported over. I just don't like it. I just don't want to. I just
Yeah.
don't want to do that. Uh, XCOM, like Enemy Unknown, everyone was really psyched
Yes.
about. I played that for enough time to be like, I appreciate things this is doing. This
Yeah.
just isn't my genre though. Like I just do not. I still do not get excited about this. I've tried the genre several times. I played Gradius. It's like this,
Yeah.
or Gladius, I think it is.
Mhm. Gladius, yeah.
Gradius is the space shooter
Gradius
one.
is. Yep. That's
Gladius
right.
is the like Roman era kind of gladiators and stuff, and you have your kind of team and you're doing grid based stuff. It was on GameCube. I played it. Like I don't inherently hate the idea. I just find it kind of unsatisfying gameplay wise. I'm like managing menus and stuff. It looks like menus and plays like menus, and that's not fun. And it's not a story centric thing. Like I haven't found one that has writing so good that I'm willing to put up with the gameplay being so uninvolving. You know, like maybe Disgaea. People say that has a good kind of fun sense of humor
I
or something.
if I can't get into I've come to the point where I won't play a game for story ever if the mechanics aren't at least somewhat bearable to me. I will stop playing a game if I can't
Like
feel like
unless they
goodbye to
like
mechanics.
downgrade its gaminess to the point where it is essentially just a book, you know? Like where it's like
That's
Ghost
completely
Trick.
different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like I can press A to read a book, like a visual sort of pseudo interactive book, that's fine. But if it's like it's kind of a game, like we're gonna demand as much time, if not way more so, as like a video game, and you can fail and have to do this again, and it's just like I don't want to do this again. Like I just trial and error kind of feel to some of these scenarios and that kind of thing. So
Hmm.
uh, patterns though, I'm trying to think what other applications of that. Like if one game will lead to another game like it. I kind of just get into general media habits sometimes. Like when I played Alan Wake, I was way into Stephen King at the time and played it because I was
Okay.
way into Stephen King at the time. So
Sure.
it it came off of that, and I was really stoked about it. So, yeah. Anyway, are you are we wanting
Hmm.
to move on or?
Yeah, let's go.
Oh, okay.
Next voicemail. Here we go.
So now that this new generation has been out for a year, I've sort of in my head just been thinking about best games of the past generation. I'm not going to ask you to actually come up with like a list of that or anything, but I've been
You've done
thinking about
that.
like how would you? I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on like how you would make such a list. Like, would
Mhm.
you group games in a franchise together? Like, do you count Portal and Portal 2 separately? Do you count the Mass Effect games separately? How do you count DLC as part of that? And how do you count PC games versus console games versus handheld games? Like, do you make the distinction with the DS and the PSP? Do you throw those only into the conversation? Do you mark off the years for the major consoles? Like, how would you guys do it? Just thoughts.
Okay.
Mm.
So how would we put together a list of the best games of a generation? Like of a console generation, I'm guessing is what he means specifically.
Yeah.
Can you do first question I have to ask, can you even do that with PC?
That's the thing, because it kind of just bleeds over everything. It's not really
So like should we
like
just
like
say
is
ignore
Witcher
PC?
2. I'd kind of put PC in its own weird category. Same with like handheld stuff, because they're not trying to be the same thing at
But
all.
you could say handheld and mobile games like on your phone or something. You could put those together because they could share the same applicability of just being a fun little thing that you do on your trip or something.
Sure, there's a lot of cross pollination. Like there's even games that are similar. Like Ghost Trick is on both iOS and DS, and it's like at
Well,
some
yeah.
point it doesn't matter which version you like because it's kind of a story based game. But anyway, man, sorry, I'm getting kind of thirsty, and it's like talking. My voice is
Yeah.
going.
Like I
All
think the one thing I would look at first of all is who took the hardware capabilities and tried to do something interesting with it. Maybe.
Hmm.
Especially when we start talking about the Wii U's and the Wii's and motion control and cameras and like using your hands to or using
Sure.
like your body movement or positioning to move in that fucking Rise of Nightmares and
Like yeah,
like
Rise of Nightmares is kind of an amazing experience, but it's so dumb.
it's dumb.
Uh,
Yeah.
but it was kind of fun. But it's not whatever. It
Yeah.
is in no way in a best of generation conversation. So whatever.
No, no.
Uh, I guess like I'd almost kind of want to disregard some of the elements of like the way things are traditionally appraised in terms of just like, well, this was a big game changer for the genre. And you're just like, well, I don't care. How does it hold up right now? Like, can I play Modern Warfare right now and it
Okay.
still stacks up? Or is it like, well, no,
Hmm.
play Black Ops now. It's better. Like we improved it and now it's better. It's a better
Okay.
thing. Like I don't know. Like
Like okay.
in
Let's
that
go ahead
case
and
anyway. Whereas
Mhm.
like the Mass Effect games, it kind of
Yes,
becomes a
that's what I'm
weird
getting at. It's
question
2.
mark. 2 is the high point. 3 is
Yeah.
totally fine though, and kind of a gameplay high point.
Yeah.
So it's kind
But
of a weird.
because
One
2
is aged and hasn't aged well, and that's
right.
unfortunate. And it's just true.
But
So it's
it
like
is true, however, one had the entrance to the world
yeah.
going for it.
And
That
there's good
is
stuff in it too. So it's a weird, it's
yeah.
a really weird thing. Years ago, even when people were asking us about it on Top Down, it was like hard to recommend one because it's like it's already so bad. Like the gameplay is so not there yet, and the frame rate wasn't that good, and like the menu management stuff. Like it's like at that point that becomes like a historical curiosity thing, and it's like really though gameplay wise and structure and all the stuff. 2 is where they figured it out, and 3 is where they
Yeah.
kind of tweaked it a little bit more. But then the writing question comes in for a lot of people.
3 is where they took it mechanically and polished it, I will
Hmm.
say, to a nice crispy clean shine.
I almost want like I've been kind of trying to get the time and the energy and stuff to go through those again and see how they stack up now. Because like during the
Yeah.
generation, they were very exciting. I'm wondering if maybe they just aren't that anymore. Like maybe
2
they're
still
just
plays fantastically.
okay.
It's the pacing of that game. It's not the story. The story is you're saving the world. It's the same story as every other video game ever.
Yeah, but you're saying it's the suicide mission, like the way
The
they
loyal
branch.
it's the loyalty missions and meeting these people that will now be going into the depths of hell with you.
You're right, but at the same time, having played like Chrono Trigger last year, it was
Yeah.
so weird to see basically the same structure in that game.
Yeah. No,
Of
for
just
sure.
like
That's easily where a huge inspiration for that had to have been.
Yeah, it's just like you have your party. There are character specific missions for a bunch of your party members, and there's this
Yep.
big end point thing that is always there that you can elect to do, which is
Yep.
go try to save the world and fight the Lavos. But
Yep.
it's kind of you have this free zone where you can kind of operate and see stuff, which is yeah, it's not as polished up as it is a decade and change later, but
Of course.
it was neat to see that it charts that far back.
Oh yeah.
Um, this generation though, like it's weird because it's like stuff that even was really impressive when it happened, like Uncharted 2, might not be as crazy anymore. Like it might just be like, well, yeah, like it upped the game for third person shooters, but now big bombastic third person shooters are you can still do that. Like, does Uncharted 3 top it if it was taken in isolation? Does Tomb Raider, like the new one, like it
Tomb
does
Raider
some good
easily
stuff?
tops it.
Like it has a nice upward ramp where it's like just
Yeah.
gets better and better as opposed to like spike drop spike drop spike, like just kind of weird like
Yeah.
2 had a pretty even course and then drop. The blue dudes are still and always were terrible. Like in
That's the
2009
worst
they were
part.
terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Like
I
it's
hated
weird
that
to
whole fucking area.
yeah. I don't know. It's like games that kind of each version that comes out, like I almost have to respect how Nintendo does their sequels for the most part
Sure.
because they're like
Sure.
isolated enough from the other one to where it's kind of just its own new spin on that, right? Like it's not
But
like
it took the good stuff and iterated on that for the next one.
but you can jump into any Zelda and start there. It
Yeah.
doesn't like it's not like well, you can't really play Mass Effect 3 without playing Mass Effect 1 or 2, so you got to go back or something. Or it's like
I can definitely say with 100% conviction if
you can
somebody
start with
wanted to
2.
get if you wanted to get into Mass Effect, start with 2. Don't even go to 1.
Yeah, okay. But I don't like Assassin's Creed, like people like
Don't
that
go to
series too
1.
much
Start
in
at 2.
general. I would honestly just bar all of Assassin's Creed from my personal top games of this generation. I do not find
Like
that structure
of course.
that
Yes.
interesting at all. It's like
I will
climb
tell you though,
towers.
Shadow of Mordor did that structure decently, at least.
I've
Because
I've been hearing more and more very like I'm going to play this game because it is the Monolith people and it is a license. Honestly, the part of that game that looks so interesting to me is there was this aspect of the first Mercenaries game that I loved in that it's like there is the deck of 52. There are these leaders and you have to stop them. And there's just
that's
like a
what this
big
game is.
exactly. Like that's the
Not
like
only
when they
that, but
showed
that
that
list
screen
changes on how good you do in the gameplay.
that's the mechanic that looks so cool to me is that it's like they took that kind of like you have a clear set of dudes you want to take out like you have a hit list but then it's like a
It's
dynamic
Most
hit
Wanted.
list.
Need for Speed Most Wanted.
Yeah, I guess so. It's the blacklist but with orcs and urukai and whatever like yeah
They are the Black Hand of Sauron, so
that kind of weird hierarchy trying to destroy the whole army's like structure thing is what looks really distinct about that.
it's
um
that mechanic
but
is
even just like a stripped down super simple version of that was in Mercenaries of just like there are 52 dudes, some of them are worth more than others, if you capture them alive versus dead that's better, like
yeah,
just that stuff made me just like I want to catch all these dudes, like all these
yeah.
dudes need to go, I want a
They're my
red X on
Pokemon.
every single card. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was just kind of like I want to be the best mercenary. It was like
Like
I
no
played
one
a
ever
bunch
was.
of that game.
To kill them is my real test. To catch them is my cause.
Peter Stormare and I totally killed a bunch of dudes in like Korea. I don't know. I think it might have been totally Korea. I think it was.
Could have been.
So hot topic. Anyway,
Was that Pandemic?
yes, it was.
Nice.
Remember those guys?
I loved them.
They were pretty good. I've been curious about the Saboteur too. I know it's not going to be like a top of the generation experience, but
Yeah.
I'm told it has some interesting stuff in it. It was just kind of rough, right?
Mm-mm.
It's actually really, really good. It's basically like Casablanca interactive.
it is basically like Casablanca because I don't much care for that either. But
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Now it's
Oh,
fine.
okay. I didn't know where you stood on
No, dude,
Casablanca. So
I have snarked at that movie in a film class and gotten like rebuffed because it's just like,
okay.
all right, moving on. Crazy guy who doesn't think it's that good. And it's just like, okay,
Whoa.
it's an old World War II movie. What?
Oh,
What?
that's
What?
right. They're releasing Shadow of Mordor on the older consoles without the Nemesis system, which is the one thing that makes that game replayable. Like you can still play that game and like get to the top ranks and kill those dudes and whatever, but
Yeah,
it doesn't feel like a dynamic world anymore at all.
I'm not gonna play those versions. That's kind of
Well,
sad.
you don't have to because Steam. I bought it. You can
Yeah.
download it.
Oh, okay, sorry. Just we're still like whatever. It's a
Yeah.
huge thing. We're not actually going to map out this list here. It was more asking how would you do a list. I guess it's
Hey.
like
What if we did a list?
we could
We'll
do a
pick
list.
at
We
it
could
for
try to
a
do a
while.
list. But
Like, yeah.
it like an ongoing series of digressions about the best games, and just be like,
Not
hey, what about
necessarily
this
a
one?
digital digressions. I mean, like we could just like make a category on the site called the list or something, and
Okay.
we'll go through like stuff and see what we can pick out and keep adding to it. I think that could be cool.
Like I think the kind of a criteria for me is stuff that is still good now or still holds up. I think that's one I'm gonna hold on to. Of just
The
like
thing is, if it was
it wasn't
so
that it was novel
revolutionary
then.
that it would be on the list, it would still hold up now.
Exactly. Like
In
it
my
wouldn't just be
theory.
like sure, actually yeah, that's fair. So like, people keep saying about like the combat system that Arkham introduced, like
Yeah.
maybe Arkham Asylum isn't the best thing that does that kind of juggling ever, but is it still a high ranking like top tier experience now as it was then? And I think it is, but I haven't played it in a while. So like is the city better? Is Shadow of
I
Mordor
feel like
better?
I feel like Shadow of Mordor is better, just
Well,
by
but
no, like
but
of course
okay,
it is because
mechanic
they
like
did.
in some ways, but for me it's like but is the I'm the goddamn Batman factor important? Because like I don't know who generic ass like Ranger guy
You,
is. I'm fucking
yes, okay.
Batman in this one. So even though I'm
You
not
know what?
stabbing that guy, I'm punching him. Like it's
You know
still
what?
cool.
That is, you are 100% correct. That is a huge factor, and I will say that that is still the only reason why you should consider the Batman part better in any way than Shadow
Mhm.
of Mordor because this is just random dude. I can't remember. I think his name is like Tyrion or not Tyrion. It's something dumb.
Yeah,
Like
it's Tyrion
it's
Lannister. They just took him and put him in
it's some like random fucking thing.
like
But
fantasy name. Yeah, like I was just like I'm
fantasy.
not even Aragorn or something. Like I'm just some guy.
But I will just tell you that when you attack a group of 3 orcs that you think no one else is around, and then one group of orcs stumbles on you during one of their death marches and call 20 others, and you are going around in a circle, just fucking stabbing dudes, throwing them on the ground, punching them in the face, you feel super good.
Mhm.
And then you inevitably either run away or die because they will call like 3 war leaders and you're fucked. But
Yeah.
yeah.
No, it sounds compelling, and I'm curious about it. But whatever. We'll map out this list stuff. I'm not, like I guess I'm gonna say like resolution and just like graphical power isn't a criteria for me. Like it's like does it look good while you're playing it? Yes, no. Like it's not like number of polys or something that is making that the
It should.
distinction.
I think it should be a check mark, though. It should be a yes/no question.
Well, I mean, if it's like this always looked like crap, like okay, but honestly, like No More Heroes kind of always looked like crap. Was kind of awesome though. Deadly Premonition looks like crap.
See,
Kind of awesome though.
I agree with Deadly Premonition. I never got into No More Heroes, so there's
Yeah.
that's just gameplay wise, though. But the way I'm thinking that we could do this is that like I'm picturing every like game that could be a contender for this list gets like its own separate write-up page with
Oh,
like check
jeez.
like kind of like if you were to open a folder, there's like a picture kind of paper clipped of the gameplay, like a game thing or whatever, It's like this, yes, this, no, or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Let's do a
Just like
giant dossier on like the games that come to mind that we have played over the last like 10 years.
I'm not even saying this is like we should have this done by like next week or something for the
Sure,
podcast. I'm
this is
saying
an ongoing project. We're trying to
like
catalog this
if
chapter.
we're ever done this, then we
Yeah.
failed.
Right. It's like,
Is
well,
what
I need to play Haze, guys. I just gotta make sure. I'm gonna play Bulletstorm. Like I gotta get through Metro Prime 3, and then I'm gonna play. Like I guess I can't go back before this generation.
yeah.
Darn it.
The only thing
Anyway.
I'm saying is that I know a place where I could get a lot of paper clips, folders, and paper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Paperclips have never been so useful.
We have to keep moving on. This will maybe be an ongoing discussion. Next voicemail. Here we go.
Okay.
Hello, Paul. Hello, Nathan. It's me out
Hello.
900 again. It's been a while. Lots of stuff happened. Recently, I have gotten back into school, so I have not had much time to do much of the voicemails. So that's why I haven't been saying much. Other things that have happened. My dog recently hurt his back, so now he's on bed rest for a little while.
Oh no.
He's getting better. He wants to move around. Not sure if you can hear him panting in the background, but he whines a lot because he wants to walk around like he always used to do.
Oh, I thought
So
it was
that
just you
happened.
meow. But
Being a dog nurse.
sorry.
And not much else has happened besides my sleep schedule now just being the normal sleep schedule.
Oh.
So I'm not nocturnal like Paul is, unfortunately.
Mm,
And again, to be honest, I never was for the most part.
that's
I
true,
try
you
to be,
weren't.
but then I get sleepy and then I go to bed. So, relating to school, I have been doing math and English class, so trying to get GED. So, question for you guys: have you always been English dudes or math dudes? I think I'm more of a math dude because English is a little hard for me to comprehend sometimes, you know?
Well, I
guess
sound like
I'm
the biggest
definitely-
egotistical asshole if I say both, because I love math, but I probably did the best in English in any other grade.
Yeah, no, it's not fair. You can't be ambidextrous with the
No,
science.
because
the
well, what I'm saying is that
the
if we're going to talk about
disciplines.
if we're talking about
multidisciplinary.
social studies, I was probably the worst with social studies. I couldn't
Oh.
do it at all.
Okay.
The sciences, I did okay in chemistry because that's basically math with like items,
Uh-huh.
and physics is math, so that was fine. But biology, I couldn't do either at all. I failed it to the point where I dropped out. I dropped that class completely. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, I couldn't even approach physics. I'm not. Well, a lot of that kind of more abstract maths related stuff. Like it was
Mhm.
weird. It was like I don't know. If you looked at kind of like chapter by chapter, it was just like algebraic stuff and just kind of like
I love
I don't know.
algebra.
I was bad at it. And then it's like once you get to like statistics, it was like big spike. I was just like, I totally understand this and love it. Like this makes so much sense.
I was pretty bad at statistics, honestly.
Yeah, it was like I don't like I would never be doing this kind of pondering, like trying to figure out this abstract, not material thing. But if you're like saying I have to do some accounting or I have to do some kind of like
Yeah.
charting trends or something, it's like, well, that makes sense. Like that just fundamentally
Yeah.
makes sense. So I get that. So yeah, I am an English person for sure. That's the stuff I gravitate towards. That's stuff I understand.
Can we all
So-
agree that like gym was probably not like one of our strong suits? I didn't like running for 12 minutes.
I liked badminton, and I was so bummed out that baseball got such short shrift in gym class. It was like a week or two, and then it was like, all right, moving on. Now it's track and field or something. It was like, all right.
Oh,
it's the
dude,
worst. Or like
dodgeball.
soccer.
Floor
Dodgeball's
hockey.
fun. I love that.
Floor hockey
Floor
was
hockey
fun, too.
also. Floor hockey was fun, but it seemed like giant chunks of the calendar revolved around like the track meet, and it was
Oh.
just like, I don't. These aren't even real games. Like
That's because
these
it's
aren't
literally
games.
it's the easiest thing to do because you just have to tell a person to run and
Yeah,
then
it's
come
like,
back.
can you perform this physical feat? No. All right. Can you score a goal on this thing? I'll figure it out. Like that's a challenge. I want to do that. Not just like jump this high. I can't do that. I can't. I'm gonna hit the
Yeah.
bar. There, I did. Great. Why are we doing this? So yeah, ball
Um,
hockey though. Ball hockey. Fun.
Swimming was a great time because you got to see all the girls in their bathing suits. That was pretty great.
How did your school had a pool?
No, we didn't have a pool. We had to go to one though. I went to the school in the city here, high school.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to think if there's ever kind of some swimming lessons component of school. Like I don't think so. So
Yeah.
that would be like, I think there was honestly like class trip to like West Ed and went to like the water park. I think that was the thing.
Oh, weirdly enough, I did really, really good when when I went to the Catholic school in religion class.
Sorry, I'm just seeing this Necronogamer's essay story about Abraham Lincoln, but it was supposed to be about Thomas Jefferson. It's like,
Apparently, they're not the same person.
presidents. I remember there was a social studies paper I was writing about Abraham Lincoln that when I set out on writing it, it was going to be like his whole life. It was just going to be like everything. It was like him dealing with his dad and like starting elections and being a lawyer. And then I got up to just like, oh my God, like I just hit the word count and he's not even president yet. So then I was just like changing my hypothesis. This is now about the man who would be president. Done my paper and then just went to bed. So yeah, you gotta act on the fly like that. But yeah, it's detailed history about the man when he was young. Abraham Lincoln's great though. That movie exists.
Yeah, just write about that. Hand in the script for your essay.
I mean, it's got some good historicity to some of that stuff, so you could probably watch that
Is
and
that
then
a
write
word?
a paper. I'm gonna say yes.
Okay, I'm gonna say next voicemail.
Okay.
More sad news. Beware the Batman's getting written off the Saturday night block, so the bad thing is no Helsing this week, but the good thing is a big Batman marathon. But I probably won't watch it because I want to sleep, and it's just gonna go till 6 a.m. anyways. Other shows that have happened, I'm starting to watch more real life people shows because parents say I watch too much cartoons. So Game of Thrones is one of them. But Game of Thrones is awesome because it doesn't have dumb teenage drama in it.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Other shows, Gotham.
It could soon.
It's like pre-Batman Gotham City. I'm gonna start watching The Flash. And I binge-watched the first season or 2 seasons of Arrow. And I'm going to watch season 3. Or whatever season it's on. I also watched Sleepy Hollow, so I'm gonna watch that show now.
Never even heard of it.
Other shows
Really?
are Red Band Society. It's a drama about kids in hospitals, so it's interesting to me.
Okay.
And a cartoon being South Park.
Yeah,
Because South Park, I heard, is pretty hilarious.
It can be.
Yep. What shows are you watching in the fall?
In the
Probably
fall?
Sopranos after saying
Finally.
I might.
8 years later. It's
Fuck
coming
you, you
this fall.
just finished it.
You're
too.
right. I get to lord it over you now. No, it's not true. Whatever. They like re-release them and stuff too. Like The Wire is getting touched up for HD or something. So it's just like, oh, okay. No, I'm not saying it's bad 8 years later. I'm saying the question was, what shows are you watching this fall? And then it's like, I'm going to start watching MASH or something.
Oh.
Like, it's like, I'm going to go
Like,
30 years back.
If it shows this fall that like new episodes are coming out, absolutely fucking nothing.
There's a show. Okay, there's this British mystery show called Broadchurch that Brittany and I tried watching because David Tennant is in it, and we were way up on that because Doctor Who. It is such a boring show, but they are remaking it with him still in it, in the States, and it's called Grace Point now. So we might watch
Okay.
that version and hope they just improved everything about it.
Okay.
So that might be a show this fall that we're actually going to watch. I'm trying to think if there's something else like starting up. That's like Mad Men isn't until next time, like next year. I think Boardwalk Empire is finishing up right now, and I'm currently on season 4 of that show, so I might get up to that point this fall.
Okay.
I don't know when Hannibal's coming back, but I'm up for that whenever that happens. Oh,
What?
sorry, this Grace Point Broadchurch even if it's just like the same actors and stuff, but that it's the same script with the same pacing, that is incredibly terrible because they need to basically redo all those episodes and get things going faster and juggle those characters better. Because wow, like we're watching The Killing right now, also, but that's Netflix. It's wrapped. It's over. Like the last season just happened on Netflix, so there's no real pressure there. And yeah, none of the DC superhero shows are really things I'm gonna look into. Just it's not my bag of goodies. It's not really what I'm looking for. Though, like we were saying before the show, I guess like Rotten Tomatoes is going crazy. They love all that stuff, so it could be great. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know. DC Universe, man.
You know
What
what
are
I
you-
do know?
Yeah, Sopranos. What?
Stitcher. We're back on it.
Whoa!
We did it.
We finally
We did
made
it, guys.
We did it.
We're back on top. So give a thumbs up on Stitcher because it helps show like other people how cool guys we are. I don't know what the hell that was, but yeah, back on Stitcher. So that is still my favorite way to listen to podcasts on the go because they do the whole taking the feed, basically downloading the show and then like re-encoding it so it's lower, like I don't want to say it, but lower quality, which doesn't matter if it's just speech anyways, but it's so you don't like get a $5,000 phone bill when you're listening to it on the go and stuff, and it streams it, it keeps your place, it bookmarks it like when you shut the app off or do any of that stuff, and you can listen on your computer as well. I recommend it. We are coming back to iTunes. I got the email today that the new feed was accepted and is under review. So
Yay! Are
we'll
we
be back on
explicit?
that. Yes, we are.
Awesome. Fucking
Is it-
awesome.
Fucking awesome.
I had to force it. But yeah.
I really do want to do this list. So like even if you don't want to be a part of it, you decide, like you wake up tomorrow and you're just like, oh dude, I can't do it. I can't
No,
play
dude,
all these
that's like-
games.
That's totally something I could like crack open my journal and start writing down like games that are to be considered like right now. So I'm up for pondering the past, and replaying stuff is one of my favorite things to do. So
Sure.
I would
Like-
not mind doing that.
So I would like to say that I will try to keep on that and like have something on the site, not like every day or weekly even, but regularly, maybe.
Mhm.
Like I don't know how long those write-ups would be, but
Oh,
anyways,
we
yeah,
didn't bring up the Portal games really. Portal 1, yes. Portal 2, no.
I
Anyway,
agree 100%. Yep. Okay, so I guess that does it for that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to like. Just give the thumbs up on Stitcher, for the love of Christ. We need more people listening to us so we can make that mad money and to, like get rid of our jobs and just talk about video games and do this fucking dossier for a job.
yeah,
It'll
become game
take up that-
historians.
It'll take up that much time, I swear to God, you guys. You have no idea how
Set up
many
some sort of
games.
game library. Anyway,
Right,
yeah.
exactly. I'd like to do something like for October, maybe play more horror games, just like as a personal thing.
Mhm.
So-
Siren live stream.
Maybe. I do have it, because it was free on the
What?
PS Plus.
What?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. When?
Yeah, it was Blood Curse or whatever.
Before I joined, or what?
I don't know, like when PS Plus became a thing for the first time ever,
Oh, yeah, okay. I was late to
I
that party.
think. But it was
Lucky.
free on there.
Hmm.
Either way, like they released it episodically. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
There's like 11 episodes or something like that, or maybe less than that, but it
So was
was
this
pretty.
like first one's free, or was it like no? You,
It might have been that, like the first couple are free. But
mm.
yeah, I don't know. Either way, that'll do it for us this week. So we're signing out here. And as always, keep those barrels burning.
It's got a lock-on technology. So crazy.